let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. and welcome to day 2 of PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is the spring split for Pakistan region, and indeed it is all powered by, of course, Reno 5 Pro. And along with which, to power up our games today, we're joined by none other than Super Johnny.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome. It's always a pleasure to be here casting the games that happen in the Pakistan region, and I'm super excited because we will have new teams participating today.
Exactly, we're looking at Group C and D going against each other, and we're very, very excited to see as to what sort of a gameplay are they going to be bringing. Yesterday we saw Group A and B, where TG, the grounders, they were just phenomenal, getting themselves 2 chicken dinners. Beautiful play.
I mean, it is going to be amazing to see how the lads proceed from this PMCO to the next stage of the competition, because this is the first step in a long journey, and the next step is obviously going to be the PMPL South Asia Season 3.
Absolutely, and in that, of course, when you talk about the Pakistan region itself, we are looking at 3 teams that will, of course, be selected, and they will have to be grinding. And again, I mean, bringing the conversation back to what day number 1 brought on stage, it was just TG through and through, and of course, that team is something that we are going to be looking out for. But today, we're going to be, of course, faced with new groups, new teams, and that, of course, we'll have to see what to expect from them.
Exactly. I mean, we'll be seeing what we will have a lot of expectations from certain teams that we have seen in the past, and then, of course, the new players coming in, the new teams coming in, will bring their take on the action, their take on the matches and the maps that will be played today. I mean, it is going to be super exciting to watch, and I mean, I'm really hyped to see some of the old guards also coming in. As you mentioned, the grounders, the way they performed yesterday, it was phenomenal.
It certainly was, but again, I mean, talking about the group stage itself, you know that there are 32 teams, but they only have these 6 days. I mean, yesterday was already done, so 5 days more, and from that, of course, only 16 will be the ones that will move on forth. 16 teams is all we are going to be looking on towards as we move towards the regional finals. But with that, another thing to talk about is going to be the prize pool. Of course, top 3 teams will be getting a slot into PMPL Season 3, but alongside that is the massive prize pool of $29,200.
Exactly, I mean $29,200, so 17 to 32nd, I mean you just get $300, so you get some money if you are out of the top 3, but you don't get to move on, you don't get to claim all the glory, because that is what it is all about, right? Along with the money comes the glory, the bragging rights of participating in the PMPL Season 3 and hopefully moving to the next big international stage from there on out. But first will be the PMPL, and before that is the PMCO.
Absolutely, and that is exactly where we're at right now. And in that, of course, you do need to be looking out for those kills. You need to be genuinely just pushing your team forth for those chicken dinners, because that is how you're going to be standing out. From day 1 itself, you ought to be starting to count down those days, right? Because you don't have that many games, you don't have that many opportunities. But yes, of course, along with that, the conversation will lead down towards, this is the first time Group C is going to be facing against Group D. They will, of course, be looking on to, well, first map Erangel, what to expect from other teams, what should be their own gameplay throughout the league.
Exactly, and because of that, we expect things to slow down for the first few games. But, I mean, even when you slow things down, the kills are going to keep on coming, and with those, the points keep on coming.
Absolutely, and talking about them points, indeed, you're looking at first position holder, the chicken dinner team will get 15 points, followed by the second getting 12, third getting 10, and so on forth. But 13th to 16th team will get no point at all. Yeah,
you get the chicken dinner if you get first, if you're the last team surviving, and you get an egg if you are from 13 to 16, you get nada points. But you can still get some points if you get kills in the early stages. So 1 kill, 1 point, that is something that has always been crucial with the new point system, because that prioritizes kills a little bit more than placement points. I mean, we have time and time again seen teams get chicken dinners, but still be outperformed by teams who were constantly getting high number of kills.
So true, so true. In just a single game itself, you end up looking at a team that has a chicken dinner but only 3 kills, whereas another team with 10 already kills and move on to the second position or what, they will of course move on forth from that chicken dinner holder team.
Just earlier today, I mean, me and Ocean, who was here yesterday, we were casting the South Asia wildcard region, ladies and gentlemen, and a team with a chicken dinner was sitting on the 3rd position on the standings, while 2 teams that had no chicken dinner but had 15 kills, had 14 kills, they took over the team with the chicken dinner. So kill points matter for a lot. If you're not, unless you're constantly finishing within the top 3 in every single game that you play. If you do that, if you are a 2nd or 3rd in every single game that you play with 4 to 5 kills, you're good to go. Otherwise, make sure you're getting a decent number of kills, average number of points per game. Make sure you are at least getting 12 points in every single match.
Absolutely. With that, of course, let's also get introduced with the teams from Group C and D that are going to be joining us today. So starting off with Group C itself, you are looking at this incredible team of Inimical, SX Blist, Hellraisers, the Royals, StarX OP.
I mean, a lot of names that bring back a lot of memories. But moving forward, we have Esports Nation, the Expendables, Magnus Esports, and Team Arcadian. So from Group C, Hellraisers and Arcadians, I would say, are the veterans who have been here time and time again. But moving forward to Group D, we have Redstone, PK, Portal Esports, one of the biggest names in the esports scene in Pakistan, followed by Destroyer Esports, and of course Team H2E. And last but not the least, N2D, Freestyle, Zarar Esports, and NFP Sky Esports. So Freestyle, Zarar, H2E, and Portal Esports. Group D, it has been a while, but I'm going to say it again. This is going to be the group of death.
It certainly will probably be, because again, I mean, we've seen those lads perform and perform yet again and again, and so again with that, they've already got that stats set up for themselves. They've got that synergy set up for themselves. But the other teams, of course, have already seen that gameplay. So if these lads are not going to be bringing something different to the table, they might get outperformed.
Exactly. This happens a lot with the veterans, with the older teams, because you have a massive sample size to study them. You have a lot of games of theirs from the past that you can look at and prepare strategies to specifically counter these teams and these players. And the young guns, they are hungry for those victories. So I'm pretty sure they've prepared for these guys a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, that will be the hope. That will, of course, be the idea that they will want to start right off the bat with Erangel game number 1 already with. But yes, again, I'm talking about Pakistan region altogether, though. It is phenomenal to get introduced with all these teams, because they are just so hungry. So hungry for those kills. Right off the bat, within the first 3 minutes itself, we end up seeing one of them teams getting eliminated, being sent back into the lobby. And again, I mean, that sort of an approach is what is required. But alongside that, it's a bit of a tricky situation, because you want to be able to keep all 4 members of your team alive.
One thing that I agree with you, and I think me and Ocean, we have been saying this since we started casting this region, that yes, the aggression is there. They are hungry for those kills, and these guys get into fights a lot in the match as soon as the game starts. But it sort of it is like a double-edged sword. While you are getting those points, while you are getting those kills in the earlier stages, and it is good for you, the bad side to those things come in the fact that if you end up losing too many players due to your overcommitment to situations that did not require you to be in those bad positions, you end up losing players, and those players would have been beneficial to you in the later stages of the game.
True. So very true. Yet again, I mean, there have been games that we've seen that have resulted in 3v1 situations, and that one player from that one team so many times is able to get a chicken dinner for the entirety of the team. I mean, again, you talk about the wildcard region itself. The other day we saw a game with 8 kills. The only member of the team who was bringing in kills, but 8 kills, and with that a chicken dinner as well.
Exactly. It was exactly as you described. It was a 3v1 situation over there, and the man got his team a chicken dinner. And it was from the fact that he was the solo player surviving for his team when there were 6 teams remaining. So from there on out, to carry yourself to the chicken dinner, it's all situational based, right? This game is about adaptation. You have to adapt to the situation that you are put in.
Absolutely. With that, of course, let's also have a look at the schedule. Indeed, as we just discussed, match number 1 will be held on Erangel. Move on to the next map. It will be Sanhok. Moving on along to Miramar, and finally, to close the day off, it will be Erangel once again. And just to keep in mind, you guys are looking at Group A and B, but we are going to be looking at Group C and D going against each other today.
Group C and D will be playing the matches, and we did see the teams a little while earlier, so it's going to be super exciting to see. And one thing that I would like to see is, can anyone take on the Grounders? Because the Grounders, as far as the overall standings are concerned, they have a really big lead, right?
True.
But they also did it in just 4 games, and these teams, they will have to sort of match themselves on the same benchmark. They will have to try and beat those teams.
So true, because again, the conversation will lead down towards what team is going to be able to get 2 chicken dinners. If not 2 chicken dinners, what team is going to be consistent enough to be able to get at least 10 to 14 kills in every single game that they are in. And that will, of course, lead them forth to go up against TG, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And it is going to be super exciting. I mean, if someone can get 10 kills in every single match, doesn't matter what placement points you're getting. I mean, of course, do not finish anything below 8, but if you're finishing in the top 8, in the top 6, and getting those 10 to 11 kills in every single game, you are going to be in a wonderful position by the end of the day. I mean, definitely on the verge, or maybe even inside of the top 8. And if you are in the top 8 within the first within your first play day, as long as your first play day you are within the top 8, I mean, the future looks bright. By the end of the tournament, you might as well be in the top 3 and moving on to the finals. I mean, in the finals also, you will have to be in the top 3s so that you can qualify for the PMPL. But over over there, everything is going to reset, so you will have the opportunity to start from scratch again.
Absolutely. I mean, that is going to be the crux of this defined moment for these teams. But again, I mean, talking about yesterday, we saw, of course, Group A and B. So today they get to just sit back and have a look at what these groups are going to be bringing to the table. Of course, in that, I do want to talk about a team called Team Stoner. Now, they were at the bottom of the page yesterday as we closed day number 1. Today, I'm hoping that they are sitting with their notebooks all set up and genuinely just looking out for these teams that will be showcasing that prowess today. Because if you end up having one bad day, that's okay. But keep in mind, there's only 6 days, right? One's done. This is going to be first for C&D. That one's done. And then only 4 days remain. I mean, you don't really have that much room to, chuck along.
Exactly. I mean, I agree with you. One day messed up is not that bad. You can come back in the future and recover. But 2 days messed up is basically like you building up your graves and putting the nails in yourself.
Yep, that is true. That is certainly going to be true. But again, though, as these teams prep themselves, of course, no team wants to be on that 16th position. No team wants to be on that 32nd position. All of them are hopefully going to be bringing in that dominating play right off the bat. But along with that, they need to have a passive approach to the gameplay as well. Because, again, I mean, we can talk about certain other teams who were bringing in, like BFM yesterday, were bringing in right off the bat, taking down teams, knocking them down, but eventually that early aggression can also backfire for you.
Exactly. I mean, as I said earlier, if you lose out on a lot of players in the early stages of the game, it is going to backfire. But it all comes down to timing your aggression precisely. If you land in a really bad hotspot, then you will have to take those fights. But as soon as those particular fights are done, focus on your rotations, focus on transitioning to the late game stages of the match and how you're going to protect yourself until you reach that point wherein you are like, all right, 4 teams remaining, this is our opportunity, we're going to get those kills and we're going to finish this game with a chicken dinner. So you will have to turn down the aggression completely in a certain point in the match, but you will have to decide when that is.
Exactly. It's, as you so beautifully put, it's like this very thin sword edge that you're on, and you're trying to balance yourself on that. I mean, there's a little bit of passive approach, there's a little bit of an aggressive approach, there's also a little bit of, well, how much information are you collecting and then how are you responding onto that? Many times we've seen teams get the information and as soon as they do, they start open firing. Well, that probably is not the right decision because again, you do need to keep in mind that you want to be able to move on towards the top 8, the top 3 or maybe even get the chicken dinner.
Exactly, especially on maps like Sanhok wherein everyone is so close and cluttered up against each other. You have to time your shots perfectly, otherwise you're going to get backstabbed, picked off, and well, you might end up losing.
Boy, oh boy. All right, with that, let's get busy with game number 1. It is, of course, going to be on Erangel, and with that, we've got the flight path on our screens.
Well, it is completely leaning to the eastern side of the map, starting from the northern part of the Georgopol city and ending on the it's on the western side of the Sosnovka military base. So this trajectory leans completely to the western side and the eastern side is completely abandoned. So if you want to go to Mansion, Milta, Shelter Prison, Yasnaya Polyana, you're going to have to take a vehicle and drive up there yourself.
Exactly. I mean, again, that will be the approach from certain teams, I do believe, because there will be teams that will want to rush on towards Yasnaya Polyana as well as down towards Milta, perhaps, why not? But eventually, though, right now what we're looking at is a lot of teams have already just gotten themselves out of that plane and have started slowly moving on down towards the range and the upper left side of the map itself. Of course, we are looking at a lot of teams who are, well, for now, just separating themselves.
Yeah, and also, I mean, quite an interesting scenario where 4 teams we have with just 3 players in the roster. So Star is going to be one of them, RS is going to be another team, then we have DES with 3 players and Zarar Esports with just 3 players. So these squads, I believe, are going to go a little bit passive up until we reach the mid-game to the late-game point. But this is quite interesting. A huge cluster of squads just landing towards the Georgopol area, the North Georgopol city, the containers, the city, the Georgopol city, hospital area. The space between Rozhok and Georgopol and Ruins, it's cluttered up with squads all together, but the circle, it is going to be centered around farm.
Wow, what a play. And with that, right off the bat, we are looking at this team that is going up against the likes of N2D right there. And that is not looking too good because, again, you talk about early aggression being seen right here off the bat. But there is, well, still time because they better start looking at to what sort of a loot are you collecting for, what exactly do you have in your bag before you can even take on that early aggression, or else that can very well backfire for this team right now.
Yeah, and this is one of the squads that have a lot of expectations from the squad of Hellraisers. Seen them in tournaments in the past and they were phenomenal. The only thing that sort of pulls them back a little bit is the fact that usually 4v4 fights were sort of their weak suits. Had they progressed into a fight wherein they have already picked off an individual player and then they were charging in, they basically outnumber the opponents, they win them 100% of the time. But if it's a 4v4 situation, it is sort of 50-50 with them. So we'll love to see how they have improved with the time that was given to them from the last PMCO to this one. But again, another big name, ladies and gentlemen, Portal Esports.
Absolutely, Portal Esports right here, collecting themselves all the loot that they possibly can. And again, one of those teams that I believe you mentioned that is only playing with 3 lads today. And that is, of course, going to be detrimental. Maybe, maybe not. Of course, we're going to have to find out. But with that, we move on towards RS, which is, of course, Redstone PK. And right here, we've got Snow from Redstone. And he seems to be, well, still on the search. He's only got a VSS right now with a level 2 back helmet. And that is looking pretty neat. But right now, in the early stage, all we're looking at is, well, get your loot set up right.
Well, he had a VSS and he also picked up an AK as we were talking about him, and I think that man is basically going to destroy anyone long range. But close range aggression, his teammate is there to cover him up with a Uzi in his hands. So Rozhok is the city that these guys are controlling right now, Redstone PK. And on to their northern sides, we do see Royals, we do see Zerara Esports, we do see the squad of Star in Severny as well. A lot of teams putting themselves on the northern part of the map. Military base, there's just one team right there.
Absolutely. For now, there is only one team. That is the team of ESN, that is Esports Nation. All of the military base is for them to start looting and start collecting, because there is a lot of good loot set up for them over there. But talking about the center of the circle itself, you're looking at PES right here, which was, of course, as we just discussed, Portal Esports. All comfortable, all... Well, again, I mean, this is looking really good for the teams that are in the center of the circle for now. But how exactly are the rotations going to be coming in? Because if you move on towards the north, left, or the northwest side of the map itself, you're looking at towards Zarki, and you're looking at the team of MG. That is, of course, Magnus Esports. They are all by themselves, and they don't have, I don't believe they've got a lot of time to be able to loot, and then they need to be planning their rotation.
Yeah, they need to be planning the rotation, and they have to move really, really fast. Or they can take a page out of the book of one of the best teams that this region has to offer. I mean, we're going to be seeing them much, much later in the tournament, ladies and gentlemen, much, much late in the competitive scene. I'm talking about Team Bablu. So what they used to do was, during their peak days, what they used to do was they were the only teams to rotate late out of the Georgia Pole City. They would let everyone move in first, and then when the blue zone would strike them, that's when they would move. They would play along with the blue zone, and that allowed them to get a lot of information. Plus, they would be the ones backstabbing a lot of teams, so they would get a lot of kills with that. Zerara Esports, they are veterans in their own right, have seen them for a really long time, have been seeing them in the competitive scene for a really long time. So I expect they have their own little playbook that they're going to stick to right now, but we'll have to see what that is.
Absolutely. And with that, we move on down towards StarX, and this is another team that is today playing with only 3-man squad, and for that, they are looking pretty dominating, a dominating force to be reckoned with. Again, only time will tell right now, because the only thing that we can already focus on is, well, get your loot set up right. And right here, we move on down towards the military base itself. As we had just discussed, we've only got Esports Nation, who is all by themselves, got this entirety of the apartments in this zone, and they are phenomenally setting themselves up for a good loot, hopefully. But they do need to move out, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, later stages they can move out. For now they're going to be in a comfortable position. As you said, I mean, still have the blue zone coming in slowly and steadily. When the blue zone collapses, that's when they will have to move out. As you said, they will have an easier time looting because they're alone on the military island, but when they have to move out, they have to worry about those bridge camps, because those are pretty brutal to get through. And if they can't, well, they're going to have to find another way around from the military island to the main island. So that can get quite tricky.
That certainly could get very tricky for them, but we'll absolutely keep our eyes on for what their approach is going to be. And right now we move on towards Expendables. This team, again, looking really confident with their loot. And Zerar, we come back to Zerar, Zigzag right here. And they are, again, very... I mean, right now, again, Johnny, the conversation is only going to lead down towards what sort of a loot do they have, what sort of a helmet have they set up. And there we go. We've already got a little bit of early aggression coming in. That was, I believe, from the team of... NPF is what I saw, but indeed we'll come back to that later.
I think it was NPF dishing out some damage on one of the players from Future Station. Sorry, not Future Station, Freestyle. And The lad did take a lot of damage, but he had a buggy on him. So FS player was able to get away from the entire fiasco. A position in which he could have blundered, gotten picked off, and left his team with a 3-man squad, but he managed to get away. So he's going to have to regroup with his teammates, pick up some first aids, and then heal up. And since they have information as to where their opponents exactly were, they can sort of look to turn things around and go for a fight. But NFP in some trouble as they spot out the players of N2D right in front of them. They're looking to go for the hunt. Do see another US coming in their direction. Are they going to go for the shots? The answer is going to be yes.
Absolutely, we see some shots coming in from the team of NFP down towards, and this again gives them a very good boost in terms of their morale as well. Again, don't really see those shots hitting because it was really far away with a red dot. I mean, it is going to be a difficult approach, but nevertheless, I mean, had they had a bit more of a closer approach, they could have had those shots hit, at least bring in some sort of damage.
Yeah, but this is the only thing they can try, right? Because they just have one vehicle on them, and if they actually try to go for a hunt, if they try to chase them down, the opponents can stop, turn around, and then shoot them in the face, blow up their car, and these guys are going to be done for. So they can only try and approach for those long-distance fight, even though they don't have the scopes on them right now. They do spot out the players of Freestyle as well, and I think the best-case scenario for NFP is going to be just to try and see where these lads are stopping, where their opponents stopped exactly, and then avoid those areas and move in.
Absolutely, because again, I mean, from the looks of it, the way they are keeping themselves held onto this hill is simply implying that they just want to have that up advantage. They want to have that advantage of the hill working in their favor as they get the information from one team to the other that is rotating around them. With that, of course, we saw the 2 cars that they have, so as soon as the zone hits them, they will be able to just rush away from and out of that region.
Yeah, a buggy and the Dacia are coming in there, but look at this. The cluster over on the side of Pochinki. So we did talk about NFE, H2E quite close to them, and FS Tyrant coming in, taking on shots on the players of Portal Esports. Motu did take some damage, but Tyrant, he's going to fall back and try and regroup with his teammates. The information has been relayed that this is where the threat is, and these are the positions that we need to avoid and keep an eye on.
Absolutely, and with that, of course, the approach from FS is certainly going to be to try and slowly and steadily go over Portal Esports and try and just separate their squad in terms of a fan approach. And hopefully, again, we can see that right here, FS Respect is out in the open. His team has certainly gotten the information, but how exactly is this push going to be working out from him? He certainly is moving on down towards his car, but we'll have to check as to how exactly does he place his buggy and what rotation is he going to be bringing from that. But move on down towards the...
Well, here comes the airdrop.
Yep.
The AUG in there. Yeah, it's going to be a good weapon. I mean, the rate of fire, the damage, the distance, it's all things that you can work with, especially on this map. But Portal Esports, Motu, I mean, if you're trying to take the fight against the players of FS, the Uzi is not going to do the trick, buddy.
No, not at that distance. Absolutely not. And again, I mean, you move on down towards Royal right here. Doctor bringing in early aggression towards H2E, and H2E gets a knock right there. Again, the team is separated and divided, and it is a fight that's taken over in the open. So again, the conversation for H2E is going to be how exactly are they going to be able to back up their lad. And with that, Royal getting knocked as well.
Well, Royal, they're going to get one knock and finished as H2E. They get some support from the players of TE.
Wow.
So the graces of the PUBG gods are in their favor. H2E actually managed to get away with the loss of just one player. Or are they? Alright, so they're aggressing into a fight on the other direction as Ati actually spots out the players of Star, goes for a few shots, and then that's the only thing they can do. They're making a lot of noise. Their positions are compromised. H2E, they need to rethink this situation because there are 4 teams right here, including them, and one of the teams has a really good backstab on them. One of the teams is blocking the exit routes. So H2E, they need to figure out a way to get away from the situation, move towards the center of the circle, and then find some good cover that they can utilize to transition to the later game stages. But Royal, oh no, here comes MGS.
Absolutely right here. Royal Paraboy is all set, and he's certainly heard those cars rotating around from the team of Magnus Esports. But eventually, again, the conversation is going to be they are looking pretty humble and comfortable in that small little house that they're in. So conversation is, Magnus, will they get the information that there is a team waiting for them on the other side? And of course, you move the conversation down towards TE. They have their crosshairs set for H2E. This is going to be a dominating play if TE is able to bring those shots in their favor.
Yeah, H2E, again, one of the veteran teams, have seen them time and time again, would expect them to qualify this time and would love to see them in the PMPL South Asia Season 3, but are they going to make it happen this time? As we do have PanXG from the team of TE, his DP crosshair is right on the face of his opponents, just waiting for them to peek the angle so that he can land some bullets in their head, knock them down, and then his team can take over and rush and finish them off, get those kill points. Although we did see MGS coming in from the backlines, and MGS, they're going to have to deal with the entire situation with Royals before they become a part of this fight.
Absolutely. Expendables certainly have a lot of information from a lot of different teams, actually. They have this compound to themselves, the apartment, and they are just slowly and steadily keeping their crosshairs towards H2E as well as the Royals on the other side. So this could very well work in their favor if they're able to get that shot on point. But along with that, of course, the conversation moved down toward the circle itself, and the circle is taking a small little shift and will have to rush because, again, there are so many teams that are still outside the circle, and you talk about, well, this is going to be an interesting turn of events. H2E again rushing in towards the center of the circle, and that is the confirmation for Expendables that, all right, we've lost our chance.
Look at the wave of teams moving in from the eastern side to the western side of the circle. There's going to be a lot of fights breaking out over there, and well, it is going to be a totally chaotic situation that we are about to find ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. As the fights are already starting, it is Arcadians finding out the players of Star, and Fury is going to be finished off. But the Expendables, they hear those vehicles passing by right next to them. Are they going to start shooting? Are they going to draw the attention to them? Or are they just going to keep their heads down? Well, it is the first option as PanXG goes for shots in those watchtowers. Misses a few bullets, but now his location and his teammates' location, they are compromised.
Absolutely are, and again, the conversation for them is how long are Expendables wanting to wait there. They've already seen 3 teams from their region rush in towards the circle itself. They are still holding on. Perhaps their strategy is going to be the last one and move in with the zone, with the circle itself into the zone. Again, we move on down towards Arc right here, and Kaizen, they are in their rotation trying to get themselves acclimated to how the zone is turning out to be, because again, they know and they have the map control and advantage that we know so many of these teams based on the rotation are going to be rushing in towards the west into the center, and so they're taking a longer approach. With that, of course, moving on down towards Expendables itself, the Immobilists, they have the information, so does the team of Expendables, and the shots are going left, right, but eventually it is going to be a conversation about who gets that first knock.
Yeah, who gets that first knock, and in fact, Adil is going to be the person who's going to be knocked out as Skeps, he's going for a flank, trying to trade out his teammate, but no, goes for a reload too soon. He had 26 bullets in the clip right there, could have easily gotten a knock, but hey, if the grenade can do the job, why waste the bullets? But Badsha with a smoke of his own with a nade, I believe. The smoke is going to be thrown towards his teammate to protect him. He's going to try and go for a revive. MGS, they have an advantage in this fight as of now. It is a 3 versus 4 situation since N2D have already lost out on one of their teammates. Oh, Skeps, he's in really good spot. Spots out Badsha, and the knock comes in. So the finish is going to come in soon as well. N2D down to just one man, Phantom, who's trying to survive behind the rock, but Adil knows exactly where he is.
Well, again, you talk about entities approach. Where are the utilities, mate? Where are the utilities? Perhaps they don't have any, or if they do, why are they not being utilized? Again, you talk about Magnus's approach. They, of course, have the upper advantage of the hill working in their favor. They've got the information, and with that, of course, slowly and steadily, this is going to convert into a perfect kill. And with that, Magnus walking away with all 4 members of their team alive, and this is just wonderful.
Yeah, this is wonderful. They've gotten 3 kills, and yes, as you said, all 4 players alive. They lost out. They almost lost out on one player got knocked out, but the revive immediately came in, and the cover fire was there as well. Hellraiser Snaker, ladies and gentlemen, was knocked out a few seconds earlier, but now he's back on his feet. In fact, he's back in the car that he is driving right now, and they're trying to find a way into the circle. Have made it to the Potato Hill right now, but getting down from here is going to be quite tricky, because as you can see on the map, there's like 3 teams that are going to be blocking their path even before they reach the circle, and after they reach the circle, who knows how many they're going to be.
Exactly. I mean, this has turned into quite an interesting affair, because the entirety of the game is being played with the circle itself. The circle is the one that is making these teams rush and push. Apart from that, it has been a very low-key, slow approach from a lot of these teams, but eventually you move on down towards an FP, and they have the early aggression coming in towards PMCO Esports. They are looking pretty dominating, but again, PMCO Esports have a lot of trouble for themselves because they are going to probably get sandwiched here, as one side is FS and the other side, of course, we saw the early aggression.
I wanted to see that nade come into Kashu, but Kashu backs off right there. Tyrant, I mean, he's a veteran player. We've seen him time and time again, and this is a man that I'm pretty sure every one of you watching this game online, you guys know who he is. This man needs no introduction. The team of FS, the team of PMCO Esports, these guys need no introductions to their names. But as you said so wonderfully, Lakshya, these guys are sandwiched right now. Not just PMCO Esports, but the players of FS as well. Look at Star. They have a really good backstab available to them. But are they going to take it? That is going to be a really big question. And the players of PMCO Esports, they better get in cover because you can't take that sort of a risk. And a team wipe coming in. The Expendables, they are going to be taken out of this game entirely. And, well, there were multiple teams that led to that. And Redstone as well. So, Redstone and the Expendables, they had a collision, I believe, and they got third-partied by another squad.
Absolutely. Again, it is the circle controlling the aggression of this game as of now. But with that, so many of these teams, as we can see, we've got NFP right here alongside which, of course, is PMCO Esports. They are spread across in two different apartments. NFP's approach is a bit more expended. And along with that, of course, is Star and FS not that far behind. Though, keep in mind, Star only has 3-man squads. So the conversation is going to be, will they be wanting to get into this early aggression? Because there is nothing that is forcing them to get into that. Of course, with that, they've got the information that there are teams there because they must have heard the PMCO Esports and NFP fight that just took place a few minutes ago.
Definitely, the sound cues would have come their way, and I agree with you. There's absolutely no incentive for them to force this fight out. They just can stay in their building, stay safe, and move on to the later stages of the game. Absolutely nothing you need to do. But there's one thing that needs to happen in order for Star to survive. These three teams in front of them need to fight it out.
Exactly.
If NFP, if PMCO Esports, if FS, if they just stick around doing nothing, then Star are going to be in trouble because how do they get out once the circle moves away from them?
Absolutely. And with that, of course, right here, we've got NFP's player getting information. He, of course, knows that there is FS on towards the other side, but now you move on down towards the other side. You are looking at Destroyer Esports that is also wanting to contest for one of those apartments in Pochinki, and this has genuinely turned into quite a show. In any minute, any moment now, we are certainly going to see a few of those utilities being utilized by probably PES as well as NFP towards each other, because in this conversation, again, FS still is a bit further away. And again, the conversation is, will they be given the opportunity by NES to have a perfect shot?
Yeah, that is going to be really, really tricky for them to make it happen, even if the shot is allowed. But Hellraiser's Ninja, he's been caught off guard. Adil, he's going for the kill. As soon as he spots him out, the shots are going to come in. But no, he shoots a couple of seconds sooner. But he still managed to get the knock. Ninja, he waited for the opportunity, but I guess he waited a little bit too long, as he's going to be knocked out and finished off. And Adil is going to secure that kill. And along with that, he goes on a domination because this was his third.
Absolutely, and with that, we are looking at another team wanting to move on towards that is going to be ESN, and this team has found themselves a pretty decent, and with that, of course, ESN was in the open and NFP has taken the advantage on that. NFP were already looking on down towards the sights and crosshairs towards ESN, and they have the upper advantage, or not yet, because again, a fight has broken down between these two teams. NFP has taken 2 knocks, so has the likes of ESN, rather 3 of them already knocked, and only Wahid from ESN that could do something for this team, but PES could very well utilize this opportunity in their favor, because this is their moment to strike back.
Yeah, Wahid is coming in for the revives for his teammates. Khan needs to hold this one off. The vehicle is about to blow up. Wahid and his teammate, they need to back off, and the vehicle blows up. They've backed off. They've somehow managed to survive. It's just Khan. He has to hold his ground. He has to pull off a 1v3. No, the pixels off his head were visible. He goes down, and this is going to lead into the elimination of ES. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Ash just charged in face first and then steps into a nade out of all things.
And with that, NFP getting that, and with that, of course, I'm also certain that they will be able to keep that 4-man alive. But PES looking in a pretty pickle of a situation where they are taking a fight against DES, which is, of course, Destroyer Esports, but they have been pushed down towards a small little shack, and all 3 players in that, well, you're asking for utilities to be thrown at you, 1 grenade, and you're out of the squad, mate.
Yeah, that tiny little watchtower, it's a really, really tricky position to be in. As you said, 1 grenade, I mean, 1 or 2 grenades, you are going to be done. Your entire team is going to be wiped out. So there are a lot of smokes that have been deployed. Destroyer Esports, they need to make sure that they use those smokes and try and get away from the situation. We do see Wilgax just vacating the premises before Kashuf's nades lands in the close proximity. But now what he has for cover, it's just that road blockade.
Absolutely, and Destroyer Esports is only one-man army as of now. He's the only one surviving, and he's still making on aggression, and not for long, of course. He is being knocked down and taken out of this and sent back into the lobby. But with that, we move on towards NFP, who did show that earlier aggression, did have a lot of information. They have already pushed on towards the side of AR, and this is, of course, Team Arcadians that will probably not be able to hold out for too long because NFP are pushing in with a lot of focus and a lot of detriment.
Yeah, NFP are trying to take the fight against the Arcadians. Arcadians were reduced to 3-man squad, out of which even one is knocked out. So it is just a few players of the Arcadians who are trying to hold that, who are trying to hold their ground against the players of NFP. As you can see, it is Kaizen, it is Kumar who are there. Umar, I'm sorry, who are present there. Oh, the good nades coming in from Kaizen. 2 knocks coming in. They have the numbers advantage in their favor, and as soon as the revive comes in, they can go for the charge. They can finish off the players of NFP. They've brought him down so low that they can convert this 3 versus 4 situation and pick up the kills from those fights.
Absolutely, as soon as they try and rush on along, and there is the rush coming in from Arcadians, and with that, NFP looking not so comfortable and are being knocked out of this lobby. They have been sent back. Even though early aggression was from the side of NFP, it has certainly backfired because the approach that Arcadians did take, the Grenadier kills, they were just bang on the money. But move on down towards the entire lobby has now just been rushed on down towards these Pochinki apartments, and the conversation is going to be how well is this going to lead on down towards, because we know for a fact down towards Church was MSG and they have a very comfortable spot. So does Star, because there's no team behind them. But move on in towards the circle itself, there are a lot of teams contesting for a good location.
Oh no, Arcadians are in some trouble as they step into the crosshairs of the players of Portal Esports. Kashuf has managed to take one down, but he's still looking for the opportunity to finish off his opponents. That is going to take a while. But yes, I mean, these Pochinki apartments, the final circle, the final fight, I mean, this is the best game I could have asked to cast right now. And the nade is going to be cooked in the hands of Kashuf. He's going to throw it. It goes inside the window, but is it going to travel far enough to take down Kaizen? The answer is going to be no. Omer from the other side is looking to find an opportunity to cover his teammate, but as we switch over to the players of FS, the skirmish against the players of Royal, it's still on.
It is certainly still on, and FS Freestyle certainly has a lot of information. They have a little bit more of an advantage than the other team of Royal, because Royal is all just segregated into that small little spot. And once again, utilities are being utilized. The only conversation is going to move on towards what sort of an approach will FS have. Will they want to stick around there, or will they move on against that? Because PES, again, there is just so many teams that are coupled down towards each other, and FS taking that early aggression towards, of course, the likes of Royal and bring down Charlie. Knock is there, but of course, Royal still has 2 men alive, and they will be able to hopefully bring that man online.
Well, Gangster is trying to go for a revive on Charlie, while Tyrant tries to find a way to get some extra information for him. Zarar Myth, we do see him quite close to the compound in which the players from Team Star are present. And these guys are doing things perfectly. They're on the edge of the circle, absolutely no incentive to force a fight or to move out, and they are just going to stick around.
Absolutely, as we see on the map right here, Immobilist, we just had a prediction coming in from the back end, and they were predicting that Immobilist, the way they're positioned, the way that spot is working out for them, do have the upper hand, but for how long? Because again, they're going to have to push on along against this aggressive force of so many of these teams, and that is exactly the approach that they are hopefully going to be trying to do. They all have 4 men alive, so that is looking really good. They have a lot of information down towards the side of Zarar as well as the other teams, and right now they seem to be taking a fight towards Zarar.
Well, Zarar Esports, they better watch out. As you said, 4 people strong. Immobilist in a really good position right now. The only thing that can go against them is the circle, and even that is sticking around them. So they have everything working out. But FS, the fight breaks out against Portal Esports, and now Tyrant and Razor are still trying to survive. Oh, Zulkar, he's trying to fall back. Tyrant is trying to take the fight against Murtaza. Zulkar is trying to fight out. It's a one. How many squads are there? There are 4 teams right there. Portal Esports, Kashuf, he gets 3 kills for himself. There's Portal Esports present, there's Royal present, there is FS present, and I saw, it is. MGS is also there.
Absolutely, Magnus has certainly moved away from that church and have now moved on in towards this. This is, wow, phenomenal. FS is in a dominating spree right now. Tyrant as well as Zolkar bringing that team online. Even though the initial push did come in towards PES, we can see them on towards the left, back it out of that situation as Royal Esports Fireboy is taking a knock, and FS is in a phenomenal play. But where exactly did Magnus disappear?
Well, Magnus, they were taken out as soon as the skirmish broke out, and whoa, it comes down to FS versus Portal Esports. There were 4 teams a couple of seconds ago, now we are down to 2. It's a 2 versus 2 situation. Murtaza and Motu versus Zulkar and Tyrant. This is the fight of the veterans, ladies and gentlemen. At one point or another, these lads have gone to represent the country of Pakistan on international stages, and now they are here again, up against each other. They're used to these situations. Zulkar, he's tossing out those smokes to create a pathway which he can use to rotate inside the circle as the blue zone is coming in his direction. It's coming for him. He starts to move out, goes inside the smoke, tries to hide, while Motu, he decides to stick on the edge of the building. He has a flash in his hands. If he uses it perfectly, he can take down Tyrant the moment Tyrant decides to vacate the premises. But Murtaza and Motu, they're still sticking in the building. Is Tyrant going to drop out first? Is his teammate, will he be able to get into a position from where he can give his teammate a bit of cover fire? That is going to be a really big question. But on the other side of things, in the trenches, the fight between these two teams, it's still on. Zarar Esports versus squad number 5.
Absolutely, and this is of course the squad of Immobilists, who have apparently got a forecast that they will probably be the ones winning, because they still have all 4 members alive, and they have been pushing alongside the clan of Zarar, and eventually again this has turned into their favor. But the question is, will they be wanting to push through the smoke? Apparently they do want to, but FS still has that information. FS has moved away from the likes of PES and hopefully will be given the upper hand, or not yet.
Well, the upper hand is going to be taken away definitely from the Arcadians as they get finished off. But no, Star, they are here as well inside the smokes. You're going to have to shoot randomly, and he steps in front of his opponents right in their faces. He's going to be finished off by a Fan, and one more kill being secured by the squad of Immobilists. So down to 4 teams, out of which FS is there, Portal Esports are there, Zarar is there, and then there is the Immobilist with all the players still alive. So this is a game that they need to make sure that they secure the chicken dinner in. This is supposed to be their game at this point, but no, they lose out on one more player. Zalim, he is going to do anything but give up, picking off the players off his opponents one after the other. All of a sudden down from 4 players to 1, and Zalim is still surviving. He's picking up those kills. It's just a Fan hiding in the same building as Zalim, and Zalim, he's looking to go for the hunt. He's trying to look for his opponents. Will he get the finish? But in the meanwhile, FS versus Portal Esports, this skirmish breaks out, and FS, they are going to be forced to take an exit as Motu manages to survive barely on any HP.
Boy, oh boy, this final fight, the way Immobilists just pushed on along and the way Zarar held his fort was just beautiful. Zarar's domination has certainly helped him. He's only one-man army right now for his team, and Immobilist only has that one man. But will they be able to survive for long? No, says the answer coming in from Afnan. And Immobilist have one lad alive, one lad knocked down. Will he be able to get a revival?
Well, that is going to be a big question, as Khan has managed to reach Afnan for the revive. Murtaza has been revived as well. This game comes down to a 2 versus 2 situation between these two teams. Who would have thought this one? And it is going to be super exciting because Motu actually goes for a charge, and he knows the odds are in his favor. But does he have the utility? One nade through that window, and it is GG's. It is the chicken dinner coming in their way, and they have 10 kills as well.
Absolutely.
Wow.
PES Motu, they certainly have the upper hand in this fight, and with that, he is the one bringing in that first knock coming in down towards Khan, and Afnan is in the back. Afnan will need to get out of there because the circle is certainly not supporting him, and with that, of course, this is a fight that was bound to go in favor of PES, the first team to get a chicken dinner.
Yeah, Portal Esports taking the first chicken dinner of the game, ladies and gentlemen, and with 12 kills. It was an amazing performance from the lads, and also, I mean, towards the end, in the last 2v2, the player jumping on the ledge of the window, that was a huge blunder. Your pixels were spotted out by your opponent. Some easy shots to hit.
Well, again, I'm enjoying the conversation. In his mind probably would have been, do I want to get knocked down by the red zone, by the zone itself, or do I want to get shut down by the likes of course, Portal Esports players? And he chose the latter because it was that much more royal approach.
I mean, but yeah, it is a little bit more royal, and it is, I have to say, but you have to think about the future as well, right? If you deny the points from the players of Portal Esports, it's much easier for you to catch up to them later on in the days.
Absolutely.
Later on in the matches.
Absolutely. That is true. I mean, again, the way this first game did play out, I mean, there was a lot of fights that were taking place, but it was towards the end of the game as the circle just pushed everybody in towards the Pochinki region, and that was just phenomenal to see. But right off the bat, it was a very passive approach from a lot of these teams actually.
I mean, the middle stage of the game was slowed down to, as Ocean like to call them, the sloth zones.
Right.
The pace of the game is like really slow. But as soon as we come to this 5th, 6th circle, the fights in Pochinki, they were absolutely crazy.
Absolutely were. But with that, of course, let's also have a look at the most valuable player from this game, the game number 1 on day 2, and that goes to none other than Momtu.
Yeah, from Portal Esports, 5 kills coming into his name, along with 621 damage, 355 healing done, 1 assist, and 28 minute 22 second survival time. So overall good performance, but I have to say Portal Esports as a whole, they had an amazing game for themselves, because the situation that they were in as soon as they reached Pochinki, when there was NFP behind them, there was the squad of FS in front of them, and the way they handled the entire fiasco with MGS, with the Royals being involved in that fight in the building, that was absolutely beautiful.
It was just beautiful to see. It was just phenomenal sort of an approach that PES had throughout, and they were just portaling across from one place to the other, keeping themselves alive for the last moment. And with that, let's also talk about the top players from this game.
Yeah, the top players in front of us right now, and it is going to be Momtu in front of us in the 1st position, followed by MGS, Magnus Esports, Adil, Royal Charlie on the 3rd, and Murtaza from Portal Esports on the 4th.
Absolutely, and in this is going to be quite a turn of events, because Group C and D, the kind of gameplay they brought today on day number 1, rather first game, apologies, it is just wow, GG's indeed. I mean, you talk about MGS, the kind of approach they had, being on top of that church for the longest time and then finally deciding to push. Yet though, that push, even though it should have worked in their favor, they had all 4 men alive for them. Just, there was not the way PS just held the ground.
It was the timing of the push actually, because had they waited for the fight to break out first and then pushed in, absolutely no one from those 3 teams would have been paying attention to them, because they would be busy fighting amongst themselves. But they pushed in, like, I have to say, a couple of seconds too soon, and that led to their demise.
Wow. With that, let's also move on towards the match summary, and in that we're looking at the highest kills. That of course is Momtu from Portal Esports, and move on down towards Immobilist Khan, bringing in the longest distance kill, 299 meters.
Yeah, almost 300 meters, almost touching the 300 meters mark. But then we have Magnus Esports, Adil, with the highest damage being dealt by him. Zarar Esports, Zigzag is going to be the longest distance traveled, 14,000. Wow.
And we had another player from MGS as well.
Highest assist.
And that is again phenomenal play coming in from this team, but that is just first game. Just first game. It is just the start to this awesome journey, where Group C and D, of course, they still have 3 more games remaining. And what sort of a dominating play are we to expect from these teams? Because again, you talk about a passive approach, Star played it perfectly, bang to perfection. The way that the team was just able to hold that ground for the longest time, and with that, the placement points will work in their favor. So let's have a look at the match ranking and find out where exactly are these teams going to fall back on.
So Portal Esports, they have a lot of kills. They were involved in the fights from the early stages of the game. They have 12 kills, 27 points. But apart from that, the kills are basically evenly divided between all the teams in the server. Look at this, Immobile is 5 kills, Zarar Esports coming in with 4, Freestyle with 3, Arcadians also being there. And it is incredible to see how the standings actually work out for these teams.
Absolutely, because again, when you talk about the play coming in from Hellraisers, when you talk about Star, we talk about ESN, Esports Nation, it was quite an interesting turn of events where all these teams tried to bring in a dominating play, but eventually again you talk about the circle and the way the circle was just rushed and pushed on along. It did make things a little difficult for so many of these teams, because the rotations that were being pushed on along were so late because they were just in a completely different moment, and then they had to push on for a completely different space and had to fight for it also.
Exactly, and I guess, I mean, there were a lot of incredible moments in this matchup that I wish I could see again.
Absolutely. With that, let's move on towards the best open moments coming in right in front over here, and they are looking too good, where indeed we started off with a lot of early aggression fights coming in from a lot of these teams, but eventually the conversation did lead on down towards, well, what are we to expect as these teams from, of course, moved on from first circle to the final circle, and that was pushed towards the Pochinki region itself, where eventually within a matter of 3 to 4 minutes you ended up having Pochinki all having just 2 teams down to 8 teams rushing in from left, right and center, and that made things a little difficult for so many of them to be able to hold the ground.
I mean, especially, but out of these, my personal favorite one is going to be the fight between those 4 teams. Royal, the fight involving the play. Yeah, this one. This is exactly what I was talking about. Freestyle, Royal, Portal Esports, and Magnus.
Absolutely. I mean, again, you talk about the rush that you just brought on, the Magnus Esports rush coming in towards, was just, again, as you said, ill-timed. But you talk about the way PES held that ground was phenomenal. Royal Esports, I mean, it just did not pan out for you guys whatsoever at all. You rushed in and you were just out.
Yeah, that was basically it. They came in and they left the server entirely. But then, I mean, this is going to be the next favorite moment, because this one particular moment actually decided who was going to get the chicken dinner in the game. Had FS won that skirmish, the 2v2 fight against the players of Portal Esports, they would have led themselves to the chicken dinner. But Motu coming in with the right nick of time and a little bit more accurate than his opponents led his team to the finish.
Absolutely. With that, again, I mean, talking about those final few moments, Zerar was the one who was the one-man army standing, and he did bring in a really, really good fight against Immobilist. Had he been able to bring that one final player down from Immobilist, it would have probably been a different conversation between PES and Zerar Esports itself.
Exactly. I mean, it would have been a different conversation, because, I mean, those teams started off with sort of a similar fiasco, but then for FS coming in from the other side and then Zerar closing in as well, it was quite interesting to see how the teams actually approached. There was a lot going on and a lot to break down in that fight.
True. Again, I mean, you talk about the rivalry in that, right? Because you know that Immobilists were far away. You saw the prediction as well that Immobilist all has 4 members alive, and they were taking fight against one after the other. Zerar was being brought down, and so there was that rivalry that was being created in Zerar's mind that, all right, I have to bring this team down.
Exactly.
But move on along to, of course, the leaderboard itself, and that is where we shall see we will see the entirety of the teams that have performed as of now. But that will take place after a few more games. So right now we're going to go on a very, very short little break. Be right back. Hello and welcome back to PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is of course the Pakistan region where we're on day number 2 and we just witnessed one game on Erangel. That was phenomenal ending. But alongside that, of course, joining me, it is none other than Super Johnny.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome again. And as the Erangel's match is over, now it's time to step into a different battleground.
Oh,
Map number 2.
Sanhok it is going to be. Last time, till the first 10 minutes, 11 minutes, we ended up seeing only 1 or 2 kills. But this time around, the map itself is going to force these teams to go up against each other.
Exactly. I mean, it's a much smaller map, and also there are a few of these locations in the map where we do expect a lot more than one teams to enter, namely Bootcamp, Paradise Resort, Painan. So these 3 locations, we do usually see cluster of teams dropping down, 2 teams, 3 teams in particular, and that sort of forces the early game aggression on Sanhok to be a little bit more intense.
Absolutely, and that again will be something to contest by all these teams. Though, even though, I mean, there are a few teams in the lobby who are only playing with 3-man squad, the way those teams have been played, I mean, the first game itself, they could very well be the ones contesting as well.
Exactly. I mean, even with 3-man squad, these teams are somehow managing to get those points for themselves, which is actually the most important thing. Doesn't matter if you're getting 2 points, 3 points, but as long as you're managing to cope up, even being down to just 3 players already before the game even starts, when the 4th player actually arrives, you will have something to start rather than starting from 0.
Absolutely, and that is of course going to be very, very crucial for you. Rather than just letting the game go away and slide by, you are just focusing on either the placement points, either whenever you can, the aggression coming in towards the kill department as well, and combine that effort together, you will have certain number of points at least, right? At least, and that is going to be very, very crucial. Though once again, I mean, you talk about yesterday's game, it was one of few of these teams who were just being, eliminated initially in the first few minutes of the game itself, and then move on towards the final game. That was the exact same team of Knockout, that was able to bring themselves a chicken dinner and move all the way from the bottom towards the first page.
Hey, that sort of brings us to what we said before the game started. You just need a few matches to turn things around. You need to reset mentally as well in order to get the best performance out of you. If you got eliminated earlier on, if you did not get any points in the matchup on Erangel, forget about it. This is absolutely a new game, and this is going to be a new opportunity for you to earn those points.
Exactly. That is just the conversation that is required right now, because again, you do not want to get any of those previous matches that you've played, any of those gameplays that might have gone against you in terms of your team play as well, but that's okay. I mean, shy that away. It's your first game. As we just discussed, yesterday it was Group A and B, now it's Group C and D. Let's get into Sanhok and find out what exactly is the flight path going to be.
Exactly, and as we do have the plane's trajectory in front of us, it starts from the western side of Bantai and goes all the way towards the north of Mong Nai. But the lineage of the trajectory doesn't really matter in this map. It's so small that you can basically go anywhere you want to.
Absolutely, and Team Arcadians right here, right off the bat, taking a drop, and along with that we of course have Esports Nation as well that are sticking down towards the south itself, probably going down towards either the cave or not necessarily the cave, perhaps towards docks as well from the looks of it, which is looking pretty neat. But eventually though, you talk about the entirety, the way this entire team roster is panning out, they are spreading all across the map itself.
Yeah, they're spreading across the map quite nicely as well. But I would like to see where the early collisions are going to happen. So far, we do have just one team heading towards the Paradise Resort. So not a lot of fights are going to break down over there. There is N2D taking control of the boot camp. And whoa! That's a massive early shift. The circle is around, I think, 35 to 40% in water already. So what was supposed to be a small map just got even smaller.
Absolutely, and that is not going to be good for so many of these teams, because again, I mean, you look at the way the teams are separating themselves. Well, there's not really a lot separating them, because there are so many teams who are all by themselves very, very close. And with that, we can expect an early aggression. But talking about NFP, I mean, you see 3 players, Sky Khatar and all, that are all set up towards the Paradise Resort, but one lad, that is Kian, has gone down south and is completely separated from the entirety of the squad.
Yeah, it is going to be a risky situation for the lad to see how he is going to survive. But all right, what is happening to the squad of destroyers? They're getting destroyed. Amer has been knocked down as well, and the players are being picked up one after the other by the players of Portal Esports. Ismail draws the first blood in this game.
Well, just perfect. I mean, they just walking in with a chicken dinner. They have their, well, perfectly set up when it comes to their momentum, and that is exactly how they're starting off this map as well. And with that, of course, we've got the first kill. Moving on along, PES is looking pretty comfortable as they go along with the situation of this game. Right now, of course, the conversation is going to be that how are they going to be moving in towards the circle. As of now, we can clearly see that we're looking at Mom2, the earlier man, the one who was the MVP of the entire lobby. He had 5 kills in the previous game. He is slowly and steadily collecting himself all the best of the best loot that he possibly can. And with that, the conversation leads towards team getting 2 kills actually, PES.
Yeah, 2 kills coming in their way really nicely. They're going to be happy about that. But now, are they going to look to pick up the remaining members of the squad, or are they going to look to move forward to the play zone towards the center of the circle and try and control that area? I mean, it's going to be quite tricky because when the circle is in such a weird position, you have to decide, are you going to try and play the center? Are you going to try and play the edge? Just gatekeep the teams coming in your direction, because if you are going to play the edge, after a certain point, the circle will come to the land area, right? And at that time, it will be beneficial. But no, DES Wilgax trying to take a 1v2 against the players of Hellraisers, and he comes out on top.
Wow. Even though he's lost 2 members of his team, it is no problem at all. This guy is just bang on aggressive force, dominating force with the UMP right here, bringing down players from the team of HR, which is of course going to be Hellraisers. Hellraisers taking an early knock. DES, the destroyers in this lobby right now, starting off pretty comfortably. Even though having lost 2 members, he is bringing that exact same dominating force against others.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he has turned things around quite nicely. And I don't know what happened. It was a complete 2v1 situation, and the man was so precise to pull this one on top of the players of Hellraisers. Now, Adnan is stuck with Wilgax, both of them in their respective huts. But the players of DES on the other side as well. Daddy Carry, we do see him in a skirmish of his own, and he is picking up kills in a totally different part of the map. What is going on with the players of DES? I mean, you get picked off earlier on in the game, and you're still going super aggressive. Would not have predicted this would happen.
Exactly. I mean, it's certainly the flight or fight response that is coming in from the team of destroyers, and they are, like I said, I mean, they're just wanting to destroy the lobby, as they did not like the early fight that they were in, and having had lost 2 players, they were like, all right, mate, enough is enough. I'm not taking this no more. No matter who I'm going up against, it is Hellraisers that they were going up against. They've brought them down. They were going up against DES, and they've tried to bring them down as well. One of the lads certainly has. Now the conversation is going to be, does Adnan even have information down towards where exactly is this man waiting for him? Destroyer, certainly with this TPP, will know exactly what to look out for, and he does know. He knows the information. But along with that, Hellraiser bringing in a squad. Perfect rotation, and this might go against the player of Destroyer, and it certainly does.
Can do that once, but doing it twice would have absolutely been awesome to watch. But this time, Snaker and Adnan, 2 of the veterans of the squad of Hellraisers, they actually pin him down quite nicely and finish him off without him even realizing where the shots actually came from. But now it is Immobilist against the players of Portal Esports. Murtaza, he's a vector in his hand, so the distance is a little bit too much to go for the fight, but his teammates are a little bit closer than him. So they can start off the fight, but they will definitely have to wait for the other players to come in, so the fight goes out in their favor.
Exactly. For now, they just have the information, and it is really good trigger control because that is what is required. But with that, we are seeing Immobilist taking shots, and Scout was almost knocked from the side of Immobilist, but he is, well, they've given away information now. I'm not entirely sure if that shot came in towards NFP or was it PES. Well,
it is going to be quite interesting because whoever the shot came from, Immobilist are going to be looking in both the directions because the teams aren't that far apart from each other. So whoever fired that shot has basically drawn attention to both the teams.
Exactly.
And it can backfire a little bit harder for Portal Esports because they are a little bit closer. But hey, I mean, another squad to the rescue as Immobilist start taking aggression from Star, and they lose out on one of the players.
Ouch. I mean, Star X just bringing in that domination against Immobilist, bringing down players of Immobilist. And again, I mean, Immobilist, they were quite in the open with that PES being right around the corner. Should have already gotten the information. And there we see Star. It is Yops from Star Zyro Yops, that is the one who was bringing in those knocks from the side of Immobilist. And Immobilist certainly do know where exactly those shots came from, and now they are certainly going to be retaliating against those. The only conversation is going to be, well, they've lost one player, that is going to be Khan. They know the information towards PES as well as Star. Hopefully by now, no, he does not, and Ninja goes down as well. That is another approach coming in from the other side altogether. That is going to be MSG for now.
So it is a 4 versus 1. Not in terms of players, but in terms of squad, ladies and gentlemen. Because Immobilist, they are surrounded by stars. There's Magnus there, there's Portal Esports, there's NFP, and they are completely pinned down in that, in that lumber mill area. There's an airdrop right next to the weekend, so he's going to try and see if he can use that for some cover. Extra movement space is going to be available. So look at this. So this is a peak. Had he just run from one part to the other, he would have been completely vulnerable, but now he has that one airdrop that he can stop and look around and then move again. But Momtu, he takes some damage from Skeps. The trade comes in. Momtu took down one, and right, NFP coming in from the rear. Magnus in some trouble. Skeps, he's gonna have to hold his ground really, really nicely. Revive Adil first with the help of a smoke, and then take the fight against NFP. But no, Adil is in a really bad position. He just has one tree for cover, and the player from NFP right next to him. Skeps with an nade in his hand. He's cooking it. If he can throw this perfectly, he is going to be the reason that his team survives this bad situation.
Absolutely, and right there, of course, we see PES taking some shots as well of their own. They were the ones who did try and bring down that early aggression towards MSG, but this has not worked in their favor, so they have to, of course, back out because they've already lost 2 players, or one player and another one is knocked, and this is not looking good. But nevertheless, I mean, PES right now, all they got to do is just get themselves acclimated once again with the early aggression coming in from all across the board, and with that, Immobilist finally bringing down Weekend, who was up towards the airdrop, was trying to fight, was trying to, flight and flight response coming in. He was on the open, of course. Immobilist had the advantage, and they just took him down. With that, PES right now also not looking happy.
Yeah, Portal Esports not in a good position as they lose out on Ismail. Oh, what just happened? Oreo, the kills are being handed to him. The player from NFP just steps into the spray that Oreo was doing on his teammate, and he gets knocked out as well. Now it's just Ash from the squad of NFP who's surviving in that small little watchtower. Alright, it's the hut that he's hiding in, and Oreo is going to try and see if he can get a finish from this far off a distance.
Wow, this is just perfect capitalization of information coming in from Magnus Esports. They were the ones that took a fight against PES. They are the ones who are now taking a fight against, of course, NFP. And this is certainly looking like NFP will have to walk out of there with 2 members that are still alive. Because, of course, when you talk about MSG and their momentum, it is certainly working in their favor for now.
Yeah, it is working in their favor, but for how long is that going to happen? For how long is this team going to survive? That is going to be a big question, because we did talk about this. We have been talking about this for quite a while, Lakshay. I mean, these teams, no one expected this situation to be like this.
Right.
We expected like Immobilist to be in a tough spot, but now everyone is in a bad position. Portal Esports, they are in a bad spot. Magnus, they are in a bad spot. NFP, they are in a worse spot.
Exactly, but talking about Magnus, I mean, the only thing that's working in their favor, or yet not working in their favor, is that they have that hill advantage.
Yeah.
That does give them the information and the upper hand. But talk about the way they've been taking fights left, right and center, they have been given away information as well. So if in case, just if in case, NFP is able to find a good momentum, PES is able to find a good momentum, Immobilist as well, then Magnus is going to be in a very tight situation.
Well, PES Kashuf in a really bad situation. He's waiting for the door to open so he can throw the nade at the players of the Royals, and no, he tosses it in the direction of Paraboy. Paraboy being brought down to around 20 HP. Kashuf just playing this one perfectly. He backs off, goes to the other side, but Doctor, he's going to deliver some surgical strikes right here.
Absolutely, this certainly does look like it. I mean, the conversation is, will PES Portal Esports want to portal out of that situation, or will Royal Doctor be the one who will be tending to their needs? And perhaps it is certainly going to be the case, because the way Royal Doctor is, of course, bringing that nade in, he has the information, and of course Portal Esports need to jump out of that situation, and they certainly did.
I think he's going to tend to their knees right now. He's going to shoot them in the knees if they step out.
Absolutely, because that's what it seems like. But eventually, that's what the conversation was. Will Portal Esports want to portal out? And definitely not. Again, you talk about the approach coming in from Royal. It is Paraboy, it is Doctor. They have one information, that is PES knows Doctor is there, but now Paraboy is also bringing in that early aggression, and then they're forcing the players of PES into one side. And with that, this could be any side that could take the lead, because of course utilities are being, of course, utilized, but eventually through what side will this push be made?
Yeah, through what side will the push be made? But the push was made a couple of seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, from N2D on the Expendables. And the Expendables, well, they have been expended. They have been taken out of the game.
Ouch. That is just ouch. But indeed, the way that worked out in this team's favor is, of course, wonderful. Badshah and all the players, of course, sticking together as a team, which they definitely should. And right here, of course, we see PES probably trying to get away from this compound. They know that they have a team on them. They probably just don't know how many players are there. And so they've got so many angles to keep a cover off. And again, Royal has all the information. They know exactly where the players are. The only thing that's missing is a little bit of utility usage on point, and that is it. Flank the players of Portal Esports out, and that will be in their favor. But with that, of course, this is a different conversation altogether, where Doctor as well is now brought down, bomb the like of Mom2.
Well, Mom2 is the last man surviving. He has to go for a revive on his teammate as well. In the meanwhile, the Royals have been finished, ladies and gentlemen. And here comes the third airdrop. It comes in with a Groza and 8x. Talk about mismatch.
Wow. This is trolling the players, basically.
Yeah.
You know, in a small little circle that is all the way to the north.
All right. This is now trolling the players.
Better trolling. That is just GG's indeed. But again, I mean, you talk about the circle itself. It was all the way up towards the north, and it was pushing up north as well, even right now in towards the third, and that will also be brought down. But move on towards the kill department. This is just phenomenal. N2D Phantom bringing in dominating play towards his clan.
Yeah, they have been taking a lot of fights, but now the rotations have been delayed. They are in the blue zone. They are moving with the blue zone. They're going to pick up the bike and move forward in towards the circle. Are they going to make it, though? Because by the time they make it, the HP bars are going to be really, really low. And if they have to take a fight as soon as they get in the circle, it's going to be a troublesome situation. But look at this. Esports Nation going up against the Immobilists. They've taken down 2 players. It's just Ninja that's left standing in a 1 versus 3 situation. He spots down 1 coming from the right-hand side, but no, it's going to be the left. He has a pillar that he is hiding behind, and Hassan, AKM in hands, is not going to need it as his teammate goes for the finish. And Hassan, he secures 2 kills as he got 2 knocks right there.
Absolutely, and what a perfect aggressive push this was coming in from Esports Nation, because the way they just fanned themselves out, the entire team, the squad of Esports Nation, was just perfect. I mean, they brought down very early Immobilist 1 and 2 kills, and then they knew that there was only 1 man out, surviving, and that's, well, GG gameplay indeed. GG gameplay indeed. But right now, of course, their troubles are not yet done, because they have now stepped into the shoes of Immobilist. Of course, there were so many other teams like Star, like, of course, you look at MJ, and this is just GG's. Portal Esports also being sent back into the lobby.
Yeah, Portal Esports did not expect them to take an exit this earlier on in the game based on how they started things, but RS Redstone Lucifer, he got the kill on Portal Esports, and now he's going to be knocked out by H2E. And from the distance too, you do see the players of H2E coming in from the backside. They've gotten 1 knock, they have the information on the other players, but are they going to commit to the engagement?
Absolutely, that will be a conversation that will be going on the other side of the map, and with that we talk about Zarzar, and this is just perfect. Zarar is also slowly and steadily wanting to push on towards the side, which is going to work in their favor, because the circle is certainly going to be working towards the team of this clan. But H2E right here, H2E, the team that did bring in that early aggression towards the team of RS, have a perfect grenade brought in towards H2E, and that has brought down Snow. With that, of course, this is a team that is already setting themselves in a very good position. They have the information. They have RS in their crosshairs. Snow is already knocked. RS Fire is the only one man who has the only cover that he has is the rock. As soon as he starts speaking, it will be game over for him, because again, H2E has all the information, and this push coming in from them, a fanned out approach once again, is going to work in their favor, because they've got the numbers.
Yeah, they have the numbers advantage in their favor, and they're approaching this fight, they're approaching this finish quite precisely as well. But now, what did they just do? Jigsaw, there was absolutely no need for the man to take this much damage. Hacker and Dread should have closed in and finished him off. But, I mean, they are in a comfortable position. Jigsaw is going to heal up. Adnan on the other side from the squad of Hellraisers is going to go down, and Redstone PK, ladies and gentlemen, they have been eliminated, as we did see a couple of seconds ago, by the hands of the players of H2E. Alright, Esports Nation again against NFP. That fight has started. N2D, they are going to be caught off guard by the players of H2E. If you look at the map, H2E is right behind them.
Absolutely, and again, I mean, talking about that NFP, which is what this crosshair is set towards. Talk about NFP and talk about the way the approach was set up towards the side of Esports Nation was just perfect. Esports Nation stepped into the shoes of course, Immortalist, but they have retaliated. NFP had been in that position for the longest time, but eventually it is a fight that will, of course, be supporting Esports Nation for now. Move on along towards H2E. H2E is the one that, of course, did bring in this early aggression right now that we just witnessed, but they are in the open as of now, so they are going to have to be a little careful because there are squads left, right, and center, and if they're not careful, they could very well have to, well, fall back.
Well, they will be required to fall back, but H2E, they've put themselves in a wonderful, wonderful position, and it is going to be quite an interesting scenario to see how this fight actually builds up. But N2D, inside just one small shack, they hardly have any cover available to them.
Absolutely, and with that, Zarar Professor taking in that FS respect as well. This is just phenomenal. Zarar once again stepping into the shoes that they, of course, have showcased earlier as well. And FS retaliating and bringing down Zigzag from Zarar. This is just phenomenal play coming in towards the other side of the map, which is, of course, being represented by the kill feed itself for now.
Well, it is going to be quite an interesting situation, and H2E, I mean, they have moved forward in the game quite nicely so far, but they are playing the edge right now, and playing the edge results in stuff like this happening. Now, H2E are outside the zone. They will have to make their way in, but in order to do that, they have to beat N2D first, and then once they are done with them, they will have to fight the players of either Esports Nation if they are still alive by then, or take on the players of NFP. Alright, N2D, easier targets out first.
Absolutely, I mean, that was a very easy approach. Of course, H2E, they had the 4-man all set up, but eventually now they're all scattered into that one-man spot, and with that, of course, NFP, the team that they were wanting to rush towards, is the one that has brought them down. One man, one spray, bringing down 3 people from H2E. The team also has not been knocked out yet. They are still in the lobby if they're going to be able to, well, bring themselves back.
What did I say? I called that fight like 30 seconds before it even happened, and that one man just did a 1v4 against the players of H2E. An incredible moment to witness, ladies and gentlemen, and a textbook lesson as to why you need to be aware of your surroundings on this particular map. Zarar Esports, they have taken an exit down to 6 teams, 16 players still alive. Magnus Esports, look at them. They are doing really well for themselves in this game. 8 kills already confirmed and all 4 players still alive.
Wow, this is just absolutely perfect right here. Of course, we've been looking at Star for quite some time, and Star has been retaliating against the likes of Esports Nation, and they've already knocked down one of their lads, but eventually they also have the information regarding NFP, and that one-man army that is standing for NFP as of now is outside the zone. Star has the information. Fury is the one who had his crosshairs towards him. Are they going to be able to allow him to even enter the circle is the conversation right now, but eventually Star is looking in a really good position. Of course, Magnus Esports right off the top of the game itself, they have been just phenomenal with their aggressive pushes, and they have just been holding that ground for the longest time, bringing in kills slowly and steadily.
Yes, slowly and steadily, and you have to make sure that you are being consistent as you move forward. The pace is going to be important. And talking about pace, Arcadian, so far they've only gotten themselves 1 kill in this game, but they've managed to bring themselves inside of the top 6. If they can get 4 to 5 more kills, they're going to be done. Their job is going to be done, and they can look forward to the next match already. But look at this, Esports Nation. Oh no, Weekend, you were looking in the perfect direction, but he flicks right on his head and takes him down with a really nice headshot from the arm.
Wow, that was just again GG play. This team is dominating the lobby right now with, of course, 9 kills, all 4 members alive, with that freestyle getting eliminated with the likes of Esports Nation as of now. NFP is also being brought down. NFP's last man surviving was also outside the circle, so not for long. That was, of course, a known situation for the like of NFP. But right now, again, you look at Star, they are still the 3-man army that they are. Arc brought down from the side of MSG.
I mean, Magnus, they are doing phenomenal in this game. This has to be their chicken dinner. This has to be their chicken dinner. But Magnus, they lose out on Adil and Weekend 2 players being brought down. The fight against Arcadians is still on as Gambler and Umar from Arcadians are still on their feet. The revives are going to come in for Magnus, and Oreo is looking to hide behind the cover, hide behind the slight curvature of the land and move in towards the circle, because the circle has shifted away from this team.
As of now, that certainly has, and they are in a very tight spot because after all, they know that on the right-hand side is going to be ESN, that's Esports Nation. They just took 2 knocks from the side of course, the Arcadians, and that, of course, is going to be a tight position to be in as they're stuck behind this small little crevice that they are in. Of course, on the other side, we do know that Star is not that far behind from this position.
Yeah, Star, in fact, are a little bit closer to the circle than any of the teams in comparison, apart from Esports Nation, of course, because they are inside the circle. They are the only team inside the circle, and they just have to gatekeep. But Hassan, once again, being brought down by the Weekend. Oh no, Skeps, the blue zone damage is going to kick in. You need to move in first and shoot later. Magnus Esports, one small mistake, and they are getting punished. They are being taken out on the 4th position in this match.
Wow, this is just GG's now. With that, we've only got 3 teams left. That is, of course, going to be Star, Esports Nation, and Arc. This is just awesome because Arcadians have only 1 man alive for now, I believe, or 2 man alive for the team. But with that, will there be any more gameplay coming in towards the favor of Star? Probably not. This seems like it is going to blow out in their favor, and it has just done so. It is out. This is an end story. There's no way you're going to be surviving that 6th zone. And Esports Nation.
Well, Esports Nation, how lucky are they? That
right?
they took 2 shots from the AWM. Their position was compromised. They were down to a 2-man squad, and they still win the game.
I mean, had Immortal, if they would have maintained that position, right?
Yeah.
Because they were in a very good position right off the bat.
Exactly.
This is exactly where the final circle came down towards. That is where the early skirmishes started off as well. But GG's too, of course, ESN, they were the ones who pushed them outside, and it was their zone then.
Exactly. They took the help of Star in doing that, because
right.
Stars were the ones who picked off the players of Immobilist, and it happened when Esports Nation was charging in, and then they took control of the warehouses, moved to the corner, was spotted out by Magnus, who were doing phenomenally.
Oh yes.
But Magnus, I think the reason why Magnus did not get the chicken dinner is they were too undecisive in which team they wanted to pick off.
Right.
One player is totally focused on ESN, the other guy is watching out for the Arcadians. You have one lad from the blue zone shooting on Star, the players from Star who are busy crossing the road and moving towards Esports Nation. So priority for them should have been take out the Arcadians first and then focus on the teams in front of them.
And rush in towards the circle itself.
Yes.
I mean, use your utilities. That is what it's used for. But eventually, again, I mean, the kind of gameplay that was brought from them, GG's to them. With that, they will get the points. But talking about the most valuable player from today's game, I mean, there are so many wonderful plays that came on along. But it is Magnus Esports' Oreo bringing in 4 kills for the team, 856 damage.
Yeah, 856 damage, survival time of 20 minutes, 36 seconds, 3 assists, and healing done just 129. So an amazing performance from this one individual, and not just him, the Weekend. Those arm shots were so crisp.
Oh wow, oh yes, I mean that flick shot that was coming in at the end of the game against Esports Nation, that was just ooh la la is what it was. But talking about the top players, let's also have a look at where exactly is MSG going to stand in this one.
Well, before that, we're gonna we do have the top players in front of us, and it is Esports Nation. Weekend comes in. He also has 4 kills. All the top players have 4 kills. Wow.
This is again. I mean, Magnus Esports. Of course, we've got 2 players from them, Weekend as well as Oreo. But talk about Esports Nation. They held that ground comfortably and beautifully, because even though they were in the open, so to say, they knew the information was being given away to so many of the other teams. But eventually, the wait worked out. I mean, that was just perfect, dude.
Yeah, it was perfect, and it had to be perfect. One small misstep, and they would have been wiped out entirely. This was just 2 players hiding behind a bunker, right?
Yep, exactly. And with that, of course, let's move on towards the match summary itself and find out what are the stats that we're looking at. Of course, the longest distances traveled is going to be from the clan of course, Esports Nation.
Yeah, longest distance traveled from Esports Nation. And they traveled all this distance to finish off the team of Immobilist.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what they did that for. And with that, move on towards the longest distance skill. That was, of course, coming in from Star X. That was Fury Op. and that is the match summary right there in front of us. But boy, oh boy, I mean, the way Oreo played, the way Magnus, the entire clan actually, the way they just held that ground was perfect play, bringing in kills wherever they could. Even though they were taking fights at one point in time with 3 individual teams, they held their ground.
Also, I mean, a big round of applause to the player from NFP, the way the fight against H2E turned out. He waited for the precise moment. See, as I was saying, like H2E, they were playing the edge. They delayed themselves so much, focusing on kills too much that they let the other teams get in front of them.
Right.
Now you have N2D hiding in a shack, NFP in a corner, and then Star on the other side, Esports Nation on a flank. H2E, at the best case scenario for them was they got 4 to 5 kills and then they were finished off.
Right.
Did not happen because the player from NFP, he was so smart. He saw them come in. He waited for them to get in front of the shack, and then he started going absolutely ham. He went ham with those bullets.
Wow, that was absolutely perfect. I mean, the way that was controlled. I mean, again, because NFP, of course, the lad had information. It was just the trigger control that he was waiting for.
Yeah.
And indeed, I mean, just perfect play. Even though it could have resulted in a different approach had they just taken care of Arcadians or Esports Nation for that matter. But eventually, again, they had different things that they had planned for the entire final circle. But yes, move on along to the moments. I mean, just perfect dominating plays throughout the game. But eventually, you talk about the best of the best moments, the upper moments. I do believe that is what is up next. So let's have a look at those moments and find out where exactly did things go wrong for them.
Well, we'll have a look at that, but before that, I think I would like to see how many points did the teams actually get, because I'm just getting curious.
True, that's certainly true. Let's move on towards the match ranking first, and with that, of course, Esports Nation were the one who did end up getting that chicken dinner, but Magnus Esports with 11 kills.
This is, I was more interested in this. Like, how many points did they climb up? 11 kills, 8 placement points, 19 points, and the team with the chicken dinner is just 1 point in front of them.
1 kill away.
And also, H2E, look at this. So they were so kill hungry that they got just 1 placement points. They got 7 kills.
Wow. Same, I mean, PES as well, the initial few skirmishes that we saw from PES as well. I mean, they were very good with those early aggressions. But eventually, as you move on down towards the final 16 teams, you are looking at Zerar Esports, who were not able to make a mark. Destroyer Esports, again, with just 3 kills as of now. They are going to Hellraisers, though.
Yeah.
That was not the kind of gameplay that they expected for sure.
I don't think so, because they were off to a good start.
Yes.
And then they got 1v2'd by Vilgax from Destroyer. So that, I don't think they expected that. I don't think Vilgax even expected that to happen.
So true. With that, let's move on towards the Oppo moments and the best plays that we witnessed throughout this game on Sanhok.
Yeah, so once again, this is what I was saying. I don't think even Vilgax expected this to work out in his favor. It was 2 players, both of them peeking him together, and he somehow managed to win the fight, heal up, finish them off, and then get out. But then he got caught off guard by Snaker and Adnan, and then he was finished off. Destroyer did not really have that much of a good time in this game, but it all came down to the fact that they were caught off guard. Like, 2 individual players were caught off guard by the players of PMCO Esports.
Absolutely, and right here it is the Magnus. This is the team that has just shined across the lobby on the map of Sanhok today. The way they held their ground, the way they were just bringing in knocks one after the other. It was Mom2 once again standing up for this team. And right here, when we look at this push that was brought in from Royal Esports Doctor, it was, I mean, they waited for too long.
Yeah, and here comes the 1v4. See, the shots are coming in, and all of a sudden you see the players of H2E going down. Dread peeks out again, and he got finished off as well. And this was the flick shot that we were talking about. I mean, that was so impressive from the weekend, because he was expecting him to peek from the right. Then he was like, all right, maybe the left side of the container. Moves over to the left side, peek comes in from the right, and he instantly flicks to the head, fires the shots, knocks down his opponent.
He was ready. He was just on the crosshair. It was all point. He was just ready for that shot, but just being able to make that flick happen on time is just GG's indeed. With that, let's have a look at the overall ranking and find out when it comes to these 32 teams. Where are these teams set up? Of course, keep in mind that these few initial teams that we're looking at, of course, have played 4 games. But PMCO Esports, having played only 2 games, are already on the first page with 5th position, 33 points.
Yeah, 33 points coming in. Consistency just paying off for PMCO Esports. In this match as well, in this match they got a decent number of kills. Oh, yes. So that is the reason that that is the thing that helps them climb up to the 5th position. But still, I think if they play their cards right, they can be in the top 2 by the end of the next game, and then they can try and take on the Grounders by the end of the last game. But as we move forward in the standings, Magnus Esports sitting on the 10th position after the way they played the last match, and Arcadians on the top 15.
Wow, this is just perfect. Starek also sitting on that 11th position as of now, and Arcadians on 15th. This is looking pretty GG for, of course, Group C and D, because these teams have only played 2 games and have already showcased a wonderful, wonderful turn of events where they are going, they're hungry for those kills, they're hungry for dominating plays, and they're also being synergistic about it, and thus bringing each and every moment like PES in their favor.
Yeah, and it is going to be incredible to see how the teams pair off when the groups actually start to cross-match. That is going to be starting tomorrow, of course, but so far, Esports Nation barely managing to keep out of the top 16. Next match is going to bring them in if things go right. But moving forward, Zerar Esports lagging a little bit behind with 18 points on the 21st position.
Absolutely, and move on to the final page of the leaderboard. As of now, we're looking at a lot of these teams, and there indeed, of course, is Team Stoner as well, who has not had a good day one. But talk about 32nd team, Hellraisers.
Yeah, that is a really surprising result. But I do expect them to climb up during the later stages of the standings. I mean, we still have 2 more games remaining. They have 1 good game, they're going to have a good standing.
Absolutely, there's no question about it, because again, this day is all about not necessarily experimentation, but more about, well, finding out what the other teams are trying to achieve, basically, right?
It's about understanding your opponents. It's about understanding what they bring to the table. And definitely after, I said that for teams from Group A and B as well. Same thing for teams from Group C and D. Once they go back home, they will start studying, and the next day they step into the battleground. It's going to be completely different.
It's going to be real good fun. With that, our 2 games are done. We're going to move on to a short little break, after which, of course, is going to be the map of Miramar.
Because you're everything I need.
Hello and welcome back once again to day 2 of PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is the spring split and this is the Pakistan region that we're in. And of course, it's all powered by Reno 5 Pro. 2 games done, Johnny.
Yeah.
Moving on into the third game with Miramar. What should we expect now?
I mean, I don't know what to expect. Did not expect Erangel to go the way it went. Did not expect Sanhok to start the way it started. And it is actually incredible what these teams are bringing and how the action unfolds so far. So Miramar, I'm going to keep an open mind and I'm going to take whatever comes our way.
Absolutely, no question about that. Nothing to, of course, shy away from that conversation. But another thing I do want to talk about would be, well, again, we know for a fact that Miramar is a very long map. So do you expect the game to be that much more extended, or do you believe the kind of aggression that we've been seeing up until now, we'll probably be looking at that right off the bat in probably the first 2 to 3 minutes, right?
I think, yeah, we might get that as the drop locations of certain teams clash, but if that does not happen, then probably within post 10 minutes we will start seeing fights based on how teams are playing right now. These guys are way too aggressive and I really like that.
Well, again, I mean, that's what I'm also keeping in my mind because I did day 1. Now on to day 2, of course, we're looking at Group C and D. Nothing taken away from all these groups, but day 1, within the 3 minutes itself, 3-minute marker, you would already have teams knocking down each other. Whereas this is a much more settled approach that we've seen in any tournament for PUBG, where in the first 8 to 10 minutes, it's a very passive approach from a lot of them teams, and then you finally move in with the aggression. With that, let's move on into the map of Miramar, as I believe the flight path is going to be on our screens as the flight has taken off.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. Starts from El Pozo and goes all the way towards the southern edge of Los Leones. So quite an interesting flight path, basically because the northeastern part of the map, where a lot of the people like to go, be it Junkyard, Hacienda del Patron, Al-Azhar, they're going to be quite tricky. Impala is going to be quite tricky to reach to. So we're going to see a lot of teams dropping down to the central location of the map, picking up those vehicles and then rotating to their favorite drop locations.
Absolutely. For now, we have our team like NFP who are moving down towards the crater fields for now, or maybe they might just be moving down towards Hacienda as well. But again, we'll have to see. Talk about Royal. Their approach is certainly moving on towards more of a western approach for now. MGS, another team that we have our eyes on, that was just phenomenal on the map of Sanhok, slowly moving down as well towards the left hand side, because again, I mean, for now the teams are just scattering themselves. There's no pinpoint where so many of them teams are contesting for one single location from what I see right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it is quite interesting. I would like to keep my eyes out on the team of Star, because they have been playing with a 3-man roster and they have been doing really well for themselves. They were, top 4, top 3 in the last match, and they are doing really well in the overall standings as well. I would like to see how far can this team take. And, well, the circle goes where the plain path doesn't. That seems about right.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just perfect GGs indeed coming in from the circle. And that is, of course, going to have to make the likes of course, MGS as well as Royal a bit more peculiar as to when exactly should they be planning their rotation. Of course, the game has just started right now. So, of course, the main focus is going to be able to get certain amount of loot set up before you even make that rotation. Otherwise, you're going to be crossing or stepping into the crosshairs of other teams that are already going to be in the circle. But talking about teams in the circle, FSVC, ARC, they are kind of fanned out. ARC seems to have a lot of players, well, kind of separated from each other actually for now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, players being separated, it is going to be a troublesome situation for the Arcadians, because look at this, towards the north it is going to be Zerard, then you have Magnus, the big death threat from the last match you have to deal with. It is going to be quite an interesting situation. And same goes for the players of FS, players of Freestyle, because you look Tyrant along with one of his teammates, they are heading up north. Zulkar has landed towards the southern part of Graveyard, and Respect is, well, he is between La Benedita and Los Leones, between Portal Esports and the team of the Expendables. So he's going to be stuck there until he can find a safe way to rotate towards his teammates.
Absolutely. And on that map on towards the south, we saw H2E, which is all by themselves in the southernmost region of the map for now. And they, of course, are going to have to, well, push along outside from that region because, well, from what I understand, not a lot of really good loot available over there. There's just a few little bit. But then again, H2E, the only thing that has working in their advantage is going going to be that there is no other team to contest them, apart from, of course, the fact when the rotations do start. But right here, we've got the clan of DES, and this team is looking, well, dominating in the last game. Also, they did destroy a lot of teams, and with that, you move on towards Esport Nation, our last match's Chicken Dinner winners, and they are looking pretty comfortable as well, as they've got this entire city in their control for now.
Yeah, they are looking really comfortable, and I mean, this team knows how to anchor down on one particular position. So they have to make sure that I think for them, it's better if they get to a position early and then just hold their ground. This team has a play style built for that. Fighting, not really their strong suit. We did see that come into play into match number 1, but match number 2, the way they anchored down that factory area and just played it to their advantage, it was amazing to watch. But now coming on to Zarar Esports, they do have one individual player. They hear the vehicle moving and they have spotted him out. But are the shots going to be fired on Immobilist Khan? It is going to be a big question, as Professor knows exactly where his opponent is.
Well, ouch indeed. Zarar Professor all set with her crosshairs, but he has the information for Immobilist Khan. Where is the other team, Khan? I mean, we did see one more player onto the right-hand side of Khan, or rather right now from this view, it's behind him. So, of course, there might be a bit of a sniper support coming in for the like of Immobilist Khan, but eventually the conversation is, if Immobilist Khan is just pushing on along to get the information for his team, well, again, where is the team? Professor is very, very sneaky right now. He is looking, well, he's just looking. He's not really wanting to do anything, and with that, Immobilist Khan deciding to get out of that small little compound and into his buggy. Now, if he's going to be working towards Professor, yes, he certainly is. Zarar Professor should probably get up right now and start his perfect domination, or...
Yeah, he's going to start dominating. Oh no, he gets dominated. Wow, did not expect that. He had an Uzi in his hands.
That is incredible. That is just incredible. I mean, perfect reaction coming in from Immobilist Khan, even though he was the first man to fall down. I mean, Zarar certainly taken a hit as well, as Professor has been knocked out as well. With that, Zigzag is the one who's looting the body as of now. And with that, of course, we do see Zarar's entire team approach the compound.
Well, I mean, it was supposed to be a kill for Zarar Esports that should have been theirs for free, but kudos to Khan for making Zarar pay for that one. Had he gone down for absolutely no cause, Zarar would have been in a really wonderful position. I mean, 1 point already being secured earlier on in the match, and then they could have moved on to the later stages of the match. But now they are down to a 3-man squad, so he made them pay as soon as the shots were fired, and that was incredible, the reactions on that man.
Exactly. I so want to see what was the gun that was used, because I know that Professor had a micro, right? An Uzi, but eventually, I mean, we know the rate of fire for an Uzi for that close combat ought to be working in your favor. He had a 1-level helmet. Maybe it was just the way the shots were taken from the side of Immobilist Khan that worked in his favor, perhaps.
Yeah, it was the M4, and it was, I think, just the fact that as soon as he jumped out from where he parked his buggy, not parked, but basically crashed his buggy, he instantly flicked to his opponent's head.
Therefore, that's exactly what got to Professor, and Professor is not going to be happy, mate. I'm certain about that, nor is the team or clan of Zarar. But with that, you move on down towards Myth right here, who just, of course, took control of this compound, and they are just busy looting. For now, he's looking pretty comfortable, but he's got 0, well, first aids. He certainly should be working towards a couple of first aids as well as a few more utilities. This is, again, right now, it's only 6 minutes in, 7 minutes in, so all the teams are just going to try and work towards the best of the best loot that they possibly can. But with that, of course, you move on down towards the south, and that is where H2E is stuck outside the circle, and they still have not decided to get into even a single car.
Yeah, still not deciding to get to a car, because, well, I agree with you, they desperately need a vehicle with them if they want to move from that Los Higos situation and come into the circle all the way to Los Leones. That's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a long drive that they need to do, and along with that, they need to make sure that they're going to be safe from the teams that end up gatekeeping on this map, especially N2D. We have seen them play the edge time and time again. Destroyers as well. They have stopped close to the edge, and they can cause a lot of trouble for the team of Star.
Absolutely. For now, we see Star slowly but steadily, of course, wanting to move on from Porto towards, of course, into the circle. But again, the conversation brought down toward H2E, that is on towards the south, as we see on our maps. Well, they certainly have not found a car. It seems like they are just taking that YOLO approach and just running for the circle for now. And of course, with that, move on down towards MGS. They are in a perfect position, moving out from Monte. They are going to be moving in towards the circle, and the best part for them is the fact that there is no team that could contest their rotation into the circle as of now. But again, talking about contentions, look onto the center of the circle. We've got PES, we've got FS right next to them, and alongside that, of course, Immobilist having had that one knock, and we've got the likes of course, this one more team that is going to be Arcadians, I believe.
Yeah, Arcadians are going to be there, and Arcadians have managed to regroup themselves because we did see them go for the split drop a couple of seconds earlier. So they can catch Zarar Zigzag off guard. He's right just a bit north of them. But Arcadians, what are they going to do? What is going to be the course of action for this team? I'm getting worried about H2E right now.
Well, certainly. Ought to, because finally they seem to have found a buggy or a vehicle wherein, of course, again, the conversation then, Johnny, could be that in a map like this, you certainly want to have individual vehicles for the entirety of your team. You cannot be all rushing in to just one vehicle. That is also going to be a very detrimental approach if they do end up getting that. But right now, it is certainly a conversation for another time, because H2E is, well, they certainly are stuck over there. But talk about NFP. NFP is up towards the north, and they are looking pretty comfortable as well as they make their rotation towards El Hazar, I believe. They are in a very comfortable position. They are sticking very close to the circle, circle's edge rather, and so there's no team that will be contesting as they make their rotations. But with that, we've got the airdrop, and the airdrop that we've got is going to be a Groza with an 8x, and that is something that all the teams are certainly going to want to get.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 8x you could use with a sniper that you find. Groza, the rate of fire and the damage output is going to help you in the close range situation. But again, Freestyle versus Portal Esports, and Tyrant, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to get finished off. These teams, this rivalry, it's going to go for ages.
It certainly is. I mean, right off the bat, these teams have genuinely picked on each other. That is, of course, Portal Esports talking and going against the likes of Freestyle, and they have just got this rivalry set up, which they will every single time try and contest against. Now, with that, of course, we're looking at Murtaza from PES, that is Portal Esports, having had the information as to where exactly did the team member of FS even come from, and so he's certainly got his eyes gauged on down towards that hill, but he has not gotten any information thus far.
Yeah, no information so far, and finally we do see the players of H2E on the map. They've finally started to move so late in the game. Oh man, I hope they make it quite safely. I hope they don't get get gate kept way too hard and just like are completely denied the entry into the circle. But so far, Immobilist, everyone is centraling. Everyone is sort of coming towards this Minas Generalis area. Immobilists are here as well. So it's going to be quite interesting to see if this team can survive the attack this time. I mean, we do see Arcadians in the distance from the perspective of Nan. And they will have the high ground advantage once they actually come in and decide to engage in a fight with this team, Immobilist.
Absolutely, and with that, we've got another fight coming in towards ESN N2Z. This is just perfect annihilation coming in, and Waleed from ESN going down. Esports Nation taking a first knock, and Badshah as well as Gun looking really comfortable right here, having had control of that compound. They will be looking for it, and with that, Immobilist taking shots towards NFP, and NFP out in the open. They are going to have to either crawl down out of the situation, or they will probably rush, and they certainly will be rushing away from this. And wow, that is just perfect. Immobilist, even though he was trying to bring the domination, he was not able to bring in a lot of damage, and he ends up getting a knock.
You were just going to say he played that one quite perfectly, weren't you?
Well, it certainly did seem that way. But eventually, though, I completely misjudged the situation, because NFP had one more man in the back edges, and that man was, of course, all set up ready with the scopes and, of course, given that sniper support.
You know what? I was going to say the same thing. I was just going to call it. Hey, he did a nice job. But just as we were about to utter those words, we were proved wrong. And that is what this region is about. You can never underestimate a team. Even if they lose out on one player, they are still going to try and take the fight. They don't care if they're down in a 3 versus 4 situation. If they see you, they will try and shoot you and take you down. Look at this. Portal Esports on the low ground. They have no teams around them. They are in a perfect position right now.
Absolutely. For now, PES, Portal Esports looking pretty comfortable. And on the other side, of course, we see Star, a 3-man army that could very well be making their gun towards PES. Again, though, when you talk about Star, the entire approach that this team has had, with only 3-man army being the, well, they being just the 3-man army, they are making only necessary pushes. They're not making any unnecessary pushes. And with that, we move on down towards NFP, moving towards Star. This is going to be quite a cluster mess because Star is all by themselves. We see Arc coming in as well as NFP for now.
Yeah, I mean, the three-man squad pulling wonders over everyone else. And they've still managed to survive this time. Arcadians are right next to them. But I've sort of figured out what Star are after. They don't want to engage fights. They always go for the backstabs. And talking about backstabs, well, MGS Weekend, he's going to be put on fire as his vehicle gets blown up by fire. I mean, I'm talking about the player right there. And Arcadians, look at this. Faison has been taken down by someone else. But we do see the players from Star trying to go in. And it is a bait actually as the backup arrives. It is an outnumbered situation. Tala, his HP is low. Anonymous, he's going in for the cover, trying to protect his teammate, but he is going to be running into a bait as well. He finally drops out of the house and runs back. Can he survive? It is going to be a 4 versus 2 situation now.
It certainly is going to be a 4 versus 2 situation where indeed, I mean, Star early aggression coming in was working in their favor. They did try and bring out almost a knock, but eventually it led the team to be, just in a small little... Exactly, just in a small little cluster. But with that, of course, now Star bringing in that aggression once again with the use of those perfectly cooked grenades, and knock has been brought in. One knock is certainly there. Will that convert into a kill? They've already got another grenade already cooking, and Star is only 2-man army for now. Keep that in mind. So that push is going to maybe be a bit of a mess as he tries to go through the smoke, but he's certainly not able to get any knocks thus far.
Yeah, a Molotov or a nade could do the trick right now, but no, Anonymous, he decides to charge and he's going to be picked off. Just one player from the team of Star remaining. Arcadians, they have to take this fight. This is their fight to win. 3 kills can be picked up from this. It's just Fury outside. He takes down one, AKM in hand. His HP is low and he gets finished off, but not for free. He takes down Gambler before he goes down himself, making the Arcadians pay at least even a little bit.
That is just perfect. Star, they were in a bit of a mess. They had their shots towards Immobilist as well. They did knock down one player of Immobilist. Of course, though, the Immobilist team was there to be able to revive them. On the other side, of course, that much more closer to Star was Arc that pushed on perfectly. The push came in perfectly and Star decided, well, not this time. We've had a lot of passive approaches. We are the ones who are going to be pushing on along. They tried that push against them, though, because again, Arc came in with 4-man, and 4 versus 2 situation will not pan out for you. Even though, I mean, Star had a pretty decent run, I would say. Nevertheless, move on down towards this perfect airdrop coming in with yet another Groza. And no scope this time, though.
Yeah, no scope this time, but, well, hey, another Groza, a lot of damage. The gun does tons of damage, ladies and gentlemen, and you have to be careful when you're opponent. I mean, everyone, as soon as you hear a Groza going off in the distance, you just start to watch out. But hey, H2E, they make it in the circle. Wow, what a pleasant surprise.
Perfect timing, and the way the rotation has worked in their favor is they're all by themselves, apart from just NFP being in front of them. But again, I mean, right now, the teams that are in the circle, we're only looking at 4 teams. We've got H2E, we've got NFP, and with that, we talked this conversation about FS going against Zarar. This could be a nightmare for Zarar because they are certainly looting. They have moved on. They certainly have moved on again. I mean, FS, they got the information, but Zarar, they had the support of that box itself.
Zulker held on the trigger too long. He should have gone for the shots as soon as he saw them going for the airdrop. He would have gotten 2 kills. Plus, they were on bikes, so absolutely no way for them to escape.
Again, though, it's just the trigger finger that did not work in his favor because he did not end up making that his priority, and that's absolutely fine. Again, you move on down towards the exact same compound that Star was taken out of. Immobilist is what we're looking at, but FS certainly has the information, and they are now moving on down towards the team of HR, which of course is none other than Hellraisers, and Hellraisers last time did not have a good outing, but this time around, they certainly seem to be in control. They certainly seem to be the king of the hill, and that is what they are bringing into their favor. The conversation, though, is going to be, will HR, Hellraisers, will they be able to keep this position for themselves, because the circle is also rushing for them. FS, on the other side, of course, will know and have the information that, alright, Hellraisers has pushed. Hellraiser has already knocked one of our lads and brought him down, but will they be allowed to move on forth from that hill?
Well, that is going to be a big question. But so far, Hellraisers, they are in a really bad situation, and I think they are going to be finished off in just a few more seconds. But it is Ronnie who is trying to find his way towards the players of Esports Nation. And it is going to be quite a tricky situation because Hellraisers, I mean, the blue zone is coming in from the back. There's a team in front of them. There's another team right on the edge of the circle that they have to worry about. So they really need to be careful, and they need to make sure that they are hitting their shots really precisely. Esports Nation in a lot of trouble as Khan, he is out in the open and he's so low. Look at this. Ronnie, he goes down. The range has gone down. He is going to be finished off. Wahid from this small shack is dropping hell on the players of Hellraisers.
Wow, this is just perfect play coming in from the likes of course, Esports Nation. Even though they were just 2 man alive, they did hold their ground for the longest time, did do a little bit of damage towards the side of Hellranger. And again, Hellranger, the way they've tried to approach the situation, even though it was in their favor, yet not, because they moved in with a bit... Had they moved in with a bit more time, they probably would have been able to capitalize on that perfectly with all 4 men alive, but that's not the case. Nevertheless, they still have 2 men alive, and they will be able to get inside the circle. Move on the conversation down towards PES, which is of course Portal. The Portal have themselves kind of in a tricky situation because we see right here, Zagan as well as Badshah, they know exactly where the smoke is, so they know that there is a team out there. Yep. And you talk about the other 2 lads from PES, they are separated onto the other side again, and behind them is another team.
Yeah, behind them is another team, and that team is out in the open, and it is going to be Destroyers seeking to destroy their opponents, and also the Arcadians in the distance. And look at this circle. As fate would have it, absolutely no one is inside the circle right now, so quite a pleasant surprise right now. Apart from the Royals, who get an easy entrance in there, every single team, apart from Royals, NFB, and H2E, they were fighting amongst themselves in the northern part of the previous circle, and now they're gonna all of them will be forced to move south.
Absolutely, for now they will be. And right here, if we look on towards the upper region of the map itself, which is going to be under the blue ring of fire, not that far away it is, but PES looking in tough spot. Freestyle getting eliminated right here from the like of Zerar. Zerar, we already saw 1 man has already moved on down towards the circle. Rather, 2 of them have already moved on down towards the circle, leaving only Zaleem in the back end. But right here, the fight continues on where PES Momtu is going to, or rather wanting to take a fight against N2, or probably not. He's going to rush away from there. But Destroyers are in a bit of a tricky situation as well, because they are going to have to move out of that position as the circle is coming and gunning for them. Murtaza was down there. Of course, PES player had the opportunity to be able to revive him, but he decided not to and has decided to move on in towards the circle itself. Though keep in mind, PS still has 2 more players in the back end, and maybe if they've got vehicles on their rotation, they could maybe very well bring that knocked player up.
Yeah, maybe they can do that, but that is going to be quite tricky to work. Oh, Thala! Is he Thala or is he the Flash? Dodged every single bullets out there, and his opponent was taken down by his own teammate. Oh my god, what did I just witness?
Wow, this is just perfect. I mean, Zerar, the way this team has worked out, it has just been phenomenal. But right now, as they move into the circle, it is quite an open circle. There's not a lot of cover that's available for these teams, and again, that's the reason why we're seeing so many of these knocks coming in along, and with that Immobilist getting a few knocks because of the zone itself. Scout right here trying to pick up a fight against the wonderful likes of Daddy Dari, but Destroyers are well knocked, and with that Immobilist Scout is on a domination kill, 3 kills to his name. And on the other side of the map, we're looking at PS Momtu in his rotation being chucked up by Royal.
Yeah, I mean, Royals are going to be in a really nice situation since they have picked up few kills, but they're still on the edge, so they're going to be required to move inside the zone. Talking about being inside the zone, Portal Esports still on the edge, out in the open. Absolutely no way they will have a safe rotation from there inside the circle. This spells trouble for every single team present in this game. Portal Esports, they will have to fight their way out of this one.
They certainly will have to. Again, I mean, because of the circle and the way the circle has approached, this is quite in the open. And again, they have information that there is a smoke over there, but for how long are they going to be able to sustain this position? Because it is in the open, and with that, of course, getting 1 knock. That is Murtaza getting 1 knock from the likes of another team altogether. That's again a third-party situation that PES is in. They have given away quite a lot of information, and Royal might be able to take advantage of this. But the only thing working in PES's favor is that small little crevice that they've got themselves in, and for that, they are looking okay just for now, though. Just for now.
Well, they look okay for now. I agree with you. For now, they look okay, but I mean, moving forward in the situation, as we did see the players of Portal Esports, now since they made a bad rotation, they are out in the open. There's Skips from Magnus in front of them, and then there's Royal that is going to stop them from getting into the circle. As the game moves forward, position of Portal Esports is going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse and worse until they pick a team off and trade places with them. Not exactly trade, but send them out of the lobby and then take their place.
So true, so very true indeed. I mean, from MGS, Skeps is what we're seeing right there. His approach is only to keep himself covered in that smoke, and that is all that he can do because he's the only one man surviving, so he wants to be able to work towards the placement points for as long as he possibly can. PES certainly letting that man live and moving away from that situation, but they now have Immortalist on their crosshairs, and again, Zara is also there. And Zarar is going to be looking very comfortable because they've got the information for a lot of these teams. And Zarar is the one Myth knocked down from PES. First knock coming in. Mom2 on the side was already knocked from Zarar, but not for long because Zarar is down. It is down. It was their compound. Only Zigzag remaining now. And with that, of course, we're also sickened that Immobilists have pushed on along towards the position of PES, which was earlier, of course, in contention with the likes of Zarar. But Zarar is nowhere to be seen as of now. And Immobilists, they are in the open. They are trying to push on along the side of PES, but they are not going to be able to because Mom2 is up. Mom2 has brought one player down, and Scout and Mom2 is this fight. But with that, of course, PES also has support of his team members, and that's exactly what happened. They had a grenade come in. Mom2 was just perfect on point, and with that, on the other side though, MGS has also moved away from that position and sneakily moved in towards the compound.
So I like what this guy is doing, ladies and gentlemen. So what he is exactly doing is he's using the pressure being built out by the players of Portal Esports and moving along with them. He's sneaking into the circle with them, and they don't even realize that they're clearing up the pathway for him. But as soon as the opportunity arises, I'm pretty sure he's going to start shooting at them.
Absolutely, he's just waiting for that right moment. But again, with that, of course, we've got another.
The same thing.
Yep, we've got another lad right there in the background, which is going to be Ark's player, and he has been caught out. PES knows the information, and they will not let him live for long. And with that, of course, that has been taken care of by Snail. But now, what are PES going to have? The options that they have. Of course, they've got a perfect compound in their control. The circle is looking A-okay for them, but they're going to have to rush along into the open as well because now we see that the circle is asking them to do so. Royal is all clustered in that small little smoke wall that they've got for themselves. Again, it is a tough, tricky situation because there's no cover whatsoever at all. The only thing that I can talk about is probably going to be H2E because H2E is looking perfect. They've got two-man squad set up on one side and two-man squad set up on the other side. So again, they could very well utilize that perfect positioning in their favor and try and slowly and steadily choke the position of either Royal or PES.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they can actually manage to choke them, as you pointed out, it is going to be a wonderful position. But the Royals are the ones getting choked by the players of H2E and Portal Esports. And Royals stuck out in the open are taking shots from both the direction. Gangster has gone down, but the revive is going to come in. Oh, Charlie Pro's down on the ground behind the vehicle. Oh no, I thought Gangster was going to get revived, but no, he gets finished off. Murtaza transfers the spray to Doctor as well, and Doctor is going to get knocked out. Now the shots come in on the other players. Doctor gets finished off. Murtaza, he is putting up an amazing performance. 10 kills, ladies and gentlemen, already to the players of Portal Esports, but Mom2 is going to be spotted out by the players of H2N, and now again it comes down to these teams, Portal Esports versus H2E.
And that is a 4v2 affair going on right here, where indeed PES has only two men alive, and with that we've got H2E pushing on along right here behind the bale. There is a nade being cooked perfectly, and Snail might be able to get this. No, it is a bit too far, certainly not going to be working out. And with that, Snail already getting a knock because the way H2E just hammered on along through this approach, there was no question about it that PES is going to have to falter down because they've only got one man alive, and that is none other than Murtaza. Even though he tried to push on along, there was nothing he could possibly do.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Portal Esports, since they managed to get a lot of kills for them, that is going to benefit them in the standings of this game. But, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Team H2E for getting the chicken dinner in this match with 7 kills to their name. 22 points coming in from this game. H2E definitely will be getting a boost in the overall standings.
Wow, that was just perfect dominating play. I mean, the way that circle just pushed on along and rather made the teams to be that much more creative in their pushes and that much more lucrative in the approach, that was just phenomenal. I mean, at one point in time, PES was all out in the open. Immobilists were looking in control of the compound, but the way that push was made and the way they were able to take that against Immortal was perfect.
Yeah, as I said, they were in a really bad position right on the edge of the circle, and they had to move in.
Right.
But since teams were already holding better positions than them, the only opportunity for them was to risk it to get the biscuit, basically, and just trade positions, take a team out, move in where they were, and then play from that stance.
Exactly, and then you move on to, again, the conversation about Arcadians or the way Magnus approached that situation.
Yeah.
Just leashing on, leashing on towards the PES. But with that, let's move on the conversation towards the most valuable player from this game today.
Yeah, so we have Murtaza from the team of Portal Esports coming in with 4 kills, 747 damage, 24 minutes survival time, 2 assists, and 349 healing done. So the fights being taken by this man weren't entirely safe fights, but he made sure that he was getting the work done, he was getting the job done, getting those kills.
Absolutely. With that, let's move on to talk about the top players from this game. And indeed, of course, in that, you ought to have a couple of players from Immobilist as well. There it is, Kaut right there with 4 kills to this guy's name, 706 damage. But Murtaza, of course, being the MVP, he is taking the lead with 747 damage and 4 kills.
Well, quite an amazing performance from Murtaza, Scout as well, but Royal Charlie and H2E Hacker, look at them.
Wow. I mean, H2E, the rotation that they made was so far late in the game.
Yeah.
So far late in the game, and yet be able to just bring in that sort of dominating play for your team is certainly looking good in his favor.
And this is something that we actually did get to see, this exact playstyle, H2E.
Right.
I believe it is sort of a variation from what we got to see from RRQ during the Global Championship.
Oh, yes.
And it is a really good variation. I mean, so what that team used to do is they would go for a wide rotation no matter where the circle was. H2E, they went for a direct one. I mean, and the reason they had to change that was, well, because the team in their region play it a little differently.
True.
And coming with the direct approach, they had a wonderful position.
Wow, that was just play to perfection from this team as well, because again, so late and then getting into that, bringing in kills, perfect play. With that, let's also talk about the match ranking and find out when it comes to this game. Of course, we know that the chicken dinner holders are looking pretty sorted with 22 points, but hey, they're contesting against the likes of PES with 10 kills and 22 points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Portal Esports, the kills get them the points as well, and they're tied with the team with the chicken dinner right now. So even though H2E got the chicken dinner, the points are all that matters, and Portal Esports, they managed to get themselves those points.
Absolutely, and again, you talk about Team Arcadian right there on the 4th position. I believe it was, well, the perfect play coming in from that lad. Eventually, he was taken out by PES, but just being that one man surviving for till the end, all you got to do is just be a leash for any other team and, just keep working towards those placement points, and that they did beautifully.
Yeah, the way Arcadians have been playing is sort of reminiscent of the champions of the previous PMCO team sites, because they have been consistent. Apart from the first game, the last game, and this one as well, they have gotten consistent placement points.
True.
And if Arcadians keep doing this in the longer run, I think Arcadians are definitely going to have a really good standing.
Well, GG's indeed. 3 matches done. With that, let's move on towards, of course, the Oppo moments, the best plays from this game, and they start off right here with Professor not being able to clutch that. Ouch.
I mean, that was quite... but that is exactly what happened right there. He should have gotten that kill on the unsuspecting victim, but I mean, the aim working out in the favor of his opponent, and Professor just being taken down. But from there on out, we move on to the later stages of the game, where basically everyone was being caught off guard.
True. Erangel, once again, I mean, they were looking in a pretty decent, comfortable position. They had the upper hill advantage. Yet again, the way they were just backstabbed, so to say, from the likes of ESN was beautiful to see. Yet again, not the kind of gameplay that I'm sure Hellrangers had predicted. But move on along towards this approach where Zig and the others were knocked out of that position, and PES was the one that was dominating them.
Well, definitely, the domination did come in from their side, but Portal Esports, as they took this fight against Immobilist, this is where it all was decided. Had they lost this fight completely, the chicken dinner would have been H2E's.
And I just noticed that when this fight was going on, right, PES going against Immobilist, that is exactly the moment when the player from MYB tried to jump in onto his buggy and moved on along. Just perfect. It was that evident, right? Because he was just so aware as to what's going on. He was listening to the shots being taken and just utilized that perfectly.
Exactly, because while your opponents are busy fighting, they sometimes tend to neglect the other sound cues, because you are really focused on the opponents, on things in front of you, your teammates, as to where you are spotting out the other players on the map, and you're so focused on that you're not going to notice someone coming in from the rear. You're going to think, alright,
Really?
This guy has passed us by, he's not going to be around anymore. And that opportunity was utilized to perfection. I mean, had that not happened, had he gone for a charge and not a fight, MGS would have lost a lot of points.
That is so true. I mean, Magnus Esports absolutely standing true and certainly working towards the finality of it all. And what is the finality? Well, of course, you're looking at the overall standings themselves.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at that and find out, well, in just 2 games, of course, Portal had moved on to the first page, and now in 3 games, they're already contesting against the team of Grounders.
Well, last match, and let's see, can they take on the Grounders? But it's just not them, it's the Arcadians as well. Look at them. 3 matches played and the Arcadians are on the 6th position with 35 points. And the consistency shows in the number of placement points that they have been getting, 24 and 11 kills. So Arcadians putting up amazing numbers on the board, but they need to make sure that they keep on doing that. One failed game from the Arcadians and they're going to drop down really, really far.
Absolutely, and looking at that 13th position right here, we're looking at SX Blessed right here with 12 kills and 28 points. They've had a decent outing thus far, but eventually you move on towards the final, or rather the second last page of the leaderboard. You have the Royals. The Royals this time around held their ground. They had all 4 men alive for the longest time. The only thing that did not work in their favor was, of course, I mean, you've only got a smoke wall that can help you for only that long. Otherwise, you've got nothing. There's no rock. There's nothing that can help the bombardment of all those, well, wonderful, skilled bullets coming towards you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's nothing that is going to protect you from all those things. But as we move forward to the last phase of the standings, I mean, we do see Hellraiser still down in the bottom, and that is going to be a big question. Are they going to make sure that the last game is theirs, or are we going to have to wait for another day for this team to make a comeback?
This is turning into quite an aggression, quite an aggressive outing, certainly. And of course, with that, we move on towards the final game, after which, of course, we are going to have the result as to what to expect from all of these groups. But before we step into that, we're going to go on a very, very short break. Stick around, we're going to be right back. Hello and welcome back once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is of course the spring split in Pakistan region. This is going to be day 2 and final game that will be starting off. But before we talk about that, it is of course all thanks to Reno 5 Pro for making it happen. With that, joining me on the honest desk, my second caster, fellow caster, is going to be none other than Phoenix for the final game.
Thanks a lot, Doctor, for this warm welcome, and I'm very excited because I'm going to cast PUBG Mobile Club Open Pakistan region. And you know what? I have a love with Pakistan region. I used to cast in Pakistan region, but you are with me. Basically, I'm with you, and I'm very excited.
It's
right now.
eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Still, nonetheless, when you talk about the game, when you talk about the kind of plays that we've seen today, right? Start off with Erangel, PS just obliterating the competition. Move on to the second game. It was Esports Nation taking a chicken. Move on to the final third game, where indeed it was H2E, and now the last game of the day. What should we expect, dude?
In the first Erangel, total esports steak chicken dinner. I think so. They are going to repeat the history again.
Well. With that, of course, let's find out. We have the map on our screens. With that, of course, the flight path moving on down towards Georgiopol, down towards Lipovka, which is perfect, all the way from west to the east.
Yep, all the way from west to the east. And right now, this is not an not an usual plane path as we expected. Most probably, sometimes the plane path dissect the map into two halves. But right now, the first question is where the zone is going to form. Which parts the zone is going to favor. In my personal opinion, I love to see a zone shifting towards the military base side.
Well, again, we're going to have to be on the lookout as to where exactly is that first zone going to start off from. But talking about right off the bat, the drops coming in, we are looking at Esports Nation Hassan going all the way down towards the left-hand side of the map as of now, and is probably going to stick around to the edges itself from the looks of it. Interesting turn of events, wherein you talk about Immobilis, they are still in the plane, they've got their seatbelts on, they're not wanting to get out. Probably, again, the idea being that Immobilis has till now always approached the circles as being the final ones. Talk about H2E though. H2E is moving down towards Pochinki, so is NFP.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe if they're going to land at Pochinki area, we are going to see some early fights. But I just want to point out this particular team, which is FS, Freestyle. In the previous match, they finished on the 16th position, which is not a great outing. We all know that this team got the medal. They are very experienced, and they used to take part in the PMCO, in the previous PMCO. They played very well. But what happened in the previous match, man?
Exactly, I mean, that is what the history has been, but again, does not imply could be the same. It is so many times that different maps end up bringing in different sort of plays from different teams. But talk about MGS right here once again. Magnus going all the way to the right towards Milta Power itself. And again, is there a team following them? Because it certainly does seem like TE is probably going to be supporting them alongside that Milta, or maybe going down towards Milta Power itself. But with that, we've got the circle already set up, and right here, this is looking phenomenal. We're down towards Pochinki apart, and this is RS Royal, and this is looking, well, right off the bat, this is looking smacker of a gameplay.
Yeah, right now, Royal just playing with the 3-man lineup. Yeah, in the previous match, they finished on the third position. Yeah,
RS Redstone, my apologies. Yes, RS is Redstone PK, and that is Lucifer Fire and Snow all set up right there with H2E. All as well set up in the same exact region. They probably don't have the information as of now. Snow is a bit too far away, so we'll probably want to come back to his team and try and probably readjust themselves as a team itself, because again, it is probably a 3-man army from the look of it. And again, they should probably not take this fight this early.
Yeah, true. And this is not a good decision for themselves, because they are already a 3-man lineup, and if you're going to face 4 people against you, 4 opponents, so I don't think so that they could survive so long. But right now, by the looks of it, they are just fall back and trying to collect some basic loots, and this is a good decision because you are not engaging in some fights. And by right now, H2E Hacker, he's just already just setting up an TPB angle, setting up an angle right now, trying to spot some players with the DP28s.
Absolutely, he had a DP in his head, and he certainly was looking out for trying to get information as to where exactly are the players. I'm not entirely sure if he still does know or not that there is the team, because again, when you jump in towards this region, right, Pochinki region, as you are on the parachute and slowly coming down, you ought to have noticed already that there were other team members. There were other team members as well as other team that did jump in towards this region. So again, the conversation is going to be the contest as to who is going to be that early one who will start the contest and will bring that dominating play. But right now, it is RS, that is Redstone, going up towards H2E, unknowingly though.
Oh yeah, I think so. They are ready to take some fights, or most probably they're still trying to spot the player that way where they are. And look at the position of Jigsaw. He's on the top of the compound, and he got one of the best angle. He can spot down some players very easily if he's able to. But all the players from the red zone, they are inside one compound. One nade can knock down the whole squad. But Hacker, he's still, he's still inside the first floor of the compound, still trying to spot some players. Okay, he got one holo sight, some pistols, two holo sights, and right now he's just throwing a grenade, man.
He's trying to. He's certainly trying to utilize the utilities approach in this engagement. But indeed, again, the conversation is going to go on towards, well, he should probably not be prone because, again, maybe he's just going down for the first floor, the ground floor itself, but should not be the case. Again, right here, another conversation is going to be Snow and as well as Fire. They were roaming around quite a lot, and that has certainly given away steps and audio cues to the team.
The way they are, and right now, a kind of a good nade from the side of Jigsaw, and Fire barely surviving on 10% HP. He jumped off from the top of the building, and right now he's gonna use some heals, or maybe he's gonna apply some bandages. And Blodder, I just want to talk about, if you're engaging in some fights, there are risks that maybe you are going to get eliminated on the 16th position. Is this a good choice? Because they already got Uzi and AKM. But if we talk about H2E, they have Bison, DP28, M4. It's a good choice. What do you think?
Well, again, I mean, initially, nobody wants to be the first team to go into the lobby. There's no question about it. But again, if you are being forced to get into a fight, you've either got the position to run away, for which, of course, you're going to have to use utilities, or, of course, you need to have car or something of that sort to be able to, run away from the position. Otherwise, you will be knocked down. You're running away, and you'll already still have guns approaching you from your opponent team, which is in front of you. So it would probably be best to just hold your ground, and that is exactly what we're seeing from the likes of course, Redstone, as well as, because right now they know that they are in a fight, and the conversation is who is going to start that early skirmish, and that seems like H2E, because they're 4-man army. They've separated themselves and segregated themselves quite beautifully. They know they have the information for Redstone, and Redstone is just set up in that one small little house. So talking about the flanks, H2E certainly seems to be in a better advantage on this.
Yep, they got plenty of angles so that they can spot down some players in red. Just holding grenades, still trying to. I think so. He's still thinking that where should I throw that grenade? Where should I lob that grenade? And I think so. Okay, he's just throwing on the ground floor of the compartment. No, not gonna work out for him because the players are still. Good thing for the team RS, they got separated. So if one player got knocked out, maybe other players can run away, or maybe they can give revive to that player.
Maybe. I mean, again, right now we're just looking at who is going to be taking that early fight. There is a lot of different approaches being applied. RS has certainly moved away from the position, and Fire certainly has some sort of an idea as to where exactly is H2E's player. But again, this for now is all they've got. It's basically a standoff, and nobody wants to take that first step. Nobody wants to be able to take that first hit or not as well, of course, no question about it. So they're taking it safe, they're taking it procedurally, trying to find the information, trying to gauge as to where exactly are the players. And right here, Snow, I believe, does have the information towards where exactly is Dread going to. But Dread seems to have walked back away from that.
Yeah, but the good thing is for, from the side of H2E, they're throwing some mollies and nades so that they can buy some more time for themselves, because they are right now. Look at Dread is just, okay, he's just climbing up, and maybe he's just going to go at the top of the building. Still, the fight is not breaking out. Still slow approach from the side of both the teams, and meanwhile, HR Snaker knocked down one player of Freestyle, and Tyrant got knocked out. And Snaker already got, he conceded a lot of damage right now, applying a first aid kit. And the good thing is he got a knock, but the bad thing is he revealed his position.
He certainly did. And I mean, Freestyle as well as Hellranger, they certainly need points. And the early skirmishes that we're seeing right here, they are looking pretty A-okay as well. This guy has also got a DP, that is Adnan. And Adnan going against the like of FS. Again, he's out in the open. Hellrangers are in the open, and that could very well be a detrimental situation for this team. But again, FS has already got a knock. FS, depending on what sort of utilities are they roaming around with, will have to see if they end up utilizing those utilities or not. Because if those utilities are applied in this with a Molotov and a grenade, this could be a perfect thing for them.
if you're talking about Molly and grenades, Dread just throwing one more Molly towards the side of the players of RS. And is this Molly going to work out for him? Still a question. Okay, lobbed that Molly so perfectly, but could not able to get a knock, or could not able to spot down any single player. He got to M16 with the 3x, which is a really, really nice combination. When I used to play, I pick M16, but I'm not that good player. But meanwhile, the kill feed is running down. Zarar Theta knocked down Zakan, and he killed him instantly because he got the first blood, which is a good thing. Zarar got the opening, and this, by the looks of it, they're looking quite confident. And H2E Hacker spotted down some players of MGS, and they're letting them go. Oh, what just happened, man? Okay, maybe they don't want to, engage in two fights.
Right, exactly. I mean, for now, they're just getting information because they know that the team, half of their team is already, or have been trying to already, take down the team of Redstone PK right here. And Redstone has been so very passive because they've only got 3-man army. So they will have to have that sort of a passive approach. But talk about the other side as well. They have the information, H2E has the information that Magnus just made a rotation right behind them. And so they're going to have to now contest for that. Either they go for it or not. But right here, of course, we're looking at FS going against the likes of Hellranger. Freestyle did get a knock, but the entire team was there to support the player and has been revived. So that's looking A-okay. But now they cannot fall back from this. They're going to have to either get those information and push, or maybe Hellranger as well.
I think so. Maybe. Okay. They're still trying to, dish out some damage. And Ronnie, he surviving on 5% HP. He already conceded a lot of damage. Right now, he's in a favorable position. Right now, just hiding behind the compounds. And I think so. He's going to heal him up himself. Meanwhile, Zarar Zigzag still trying to spot some players. He got Mini 14 with the 8x, which is a really, really beautiful combination.
Absolutely, and we look towards the map. The final rotations are coming in towards the side of Acadians as well as Royal. Now again, both of these teams have had a decent run thus far, have been bringing down points for themselves, and right here again bringing the conversation down towards Hellranger. He did end up, Snaker did end up taking a knock from FS, and this is the point where FS maybe should utilize to push on along, and they certainly do. But with that, of course, they are also giving away information to Hellranger, and Hellranger, if they want to be able to capitalize on this, should already be setting their crosshairs down towards the side of FS's compound.
Yep, FS's compound, and let's see what's going to happen. But I don't think so they are going to rush towards players of Hellranger, because they are already inside the zone and they are in a very, very good compound. Let's see what's going to happen. Meanwhile, Skeps spotted down some players trying to dish out some damage, and he got one M4 with a 3x, which is a really, really good combination. Still trying to, randomly spraying. Maybe he's thinking that maybe one bullet could get connected, but unfortunately.
Well, again, I mean, it's early fire, right? I mean, pre-firing is a very common approach from, as long as you've got the information, that is, of course. You're not shooting in random places. And he saw that buggy being there, right? So he knew that he had to try and get the attention of that team. Now, again, always, whenever you see these sort of skirmishes, the point always ends up becoming that you've given away your information as well. So the conversation is going to be, well, Skeps is here. Skeps is certainly trying to get the attention of the team of this wonderful, wonderful team of DES, which is, of course, Destroyer Esports. Where is the other member of his team? Where is Weekend? What exactly are they working towards? Do they have the crosshairs exactly pointed down towards the same site or not?
Maybe he's on a mission trying to find some more vehicles for them so that they can run away, and maybe they don't want to engage in some fights. But meanwhile, we got our second airdrop, and we have Og with 5.56 ammo with a tactical stock in a level 3 kit. What do you think if you are playing in a competitive level? Do you want to pick this airdrop?
Why would you not? As long as you're around, as long as there's nobody
M4
around to contest, you would probably want to. Because again, yes, M4 is your comfort, but you move on towards getting something like an AUG, you get that much more of a better advantage in terms of the kind of rate of fire that you end up getting from the gun. But also with that, the conversation ends up going down towards what are you comfortable with?
Yeah.
Right? And there's no yin and yang in this sort of situation. All of it works out perfectly as long as you are comfortable. You are in that yin and yang approach for yourself.
For yourself, and I agree with your point, but right now, this third zone, the second zone will close in, and after 25 seconds, the third zone is gonna close. And meanwhile, GHAZI Esports, they are in a quite happy place, still trying to, it's an open area. Players can spot it down very easily, and it can go vice versa.
That is true. For now, Zarar is certainly trying to hold the small little compound and trying to get the information actually, because if you look onto the map itself, Zarar is set themselves up pretty nicely, pretty neatly. But again, the conversation will be, what about the other teams? Like for example, NPF, or rather NFP. They are still making their rotations. They've got Star in their way, and Star is, we know, a 3-man army for now. So will NFP get a fight from Star? Probably not, because they seem to be genuinely getting away from that position and moving down towards N2. And that also could be a troublesome situation, because again, I mean, you talk about the teams that are in the zone, pretty much all the teams are in the zone. H2E finally making that push, RS finally making that push. They're all in the zone itself, and till now we've got all 16 teams, but just 1 or 2 knocks from across the lobby.
So by the looks of it, we can see a passive approach coming from the side from every single team, because right now they're just playing for some placement points, and which is a good choice, because this is the last game of day 2. You need to get some points, otherwise you're going to be stay at the second page or the third page of the leaderboard. But PUBG Esports, they're on the first page and they got second position in all over leaderboard, which is a good thing for them.
Absolutely is, and right now of course they are pretty much in the center, right next to Arc right there, which is of course Arcadians, and they are looking pretty decent in that ruined compound that they're in. So is the Mobilist, Khan and Ninja all across that, scattered on up above them. But you talk about NFP, MFP is, well, kind of scattered. Their push is certainly moving on towards a different gameplay altogether, where indeed NFP's Ash is all by himself on towards the mountain ridges, and on the other side all the 3 team members are slowly making their way towards them. But with that, the rotation coming in a bit too late, trying to cross against N2D, and they have been knocked from the looks of it, or rather just sent back to the lobby.
Sent back to the lobby, and now they are down to only 3 players. Meanwhile, Royal Gangster spotted down Artie of H2E and trying to dish out some damage. He has a 1 M4 with a 4x scope and still spraying some random shots. And okay, Royal Esports, they are playing with a 3-man lineup.
Oh yes, Royal
a lot of
is.
teams just playing with the 3-man lineup.
True.
Why?
That is so true. Again, you don't know. It's just one of those conversations.
I don't know,
you
man.
just don't know. Even though they're supposed to have 4 team members, but they have not had the 4 team members in this gameplay. But it is okay. And they have been able to, of course, bring in a wonderful play for themselves. Because again, you talk about the likes of, FS. Right? The way they've been playing, again, 3-man army, but beautiful. Star has been phenomenal as well.
But right now, FS Star, and finally he got an opening and he got a knock, but couldn't able to confirm that knock into a kill. Meanwhile, just weakened. All the players just climb on that on the top of the building, and they're using that thing into their favor. And he got look at the position of Weekend. He got a lot of area to search out for some players, and he spotted down Kasif, and he's not in a good position because Weekend maybe he's trying to burst that car down, I think so.
Well, again, I mean, he's got the information through the smoke that was utilized, and with that, of course, Weekend in another wonderful position, but not able to capitalize on that spray. Immobilist Ninja just walking, or rather running out of that situation, no problem at all whatsoever. But Weekend tried his level best. I mean, he got the information towards PES, but PES being stuck out in the open, and never mind that, it is Ninja once again being brought down because he was able to get away from, well, one player, but not the other, because DE was right there waiting for him.
But meanwhile, Imbolus Ninja, he got knocked down. I don't think so that he can get a revive. But right now, one more player got stuck in the open, which is Khan. He's just taking cover of that buggy. And, Thug XG spotted out one more player trying to dish out some damage. He did that, but he got only one bullet got connected on the body of the opponent player.
Absolutely. For now, they do know, rather Expendable just knows, Thug knows that there is one player right there, and he is just determined to get that kill. Alongside that, he knows that PES is also not that far away, and he's already been able to spot both of them and has taken interesting damage towards PES, but PES seems to not be able to retaliate at all, because PES has their own battles going on against the likes of Immobilist for now, and Immobilist Khan is the one that is in front of Skeps and Adil from PES right there.
Right now I can see the kill feed is running, and H2E Ati just got knocked down, and we still have 16 teams left. 55 players are there. Royal Doctor coming into action, knocked down RS Lucifer and killed him instantly. Meanwhile, Skyesh also killed Zarar Theta. So fights are breaking out in left and right and center. Meanwhile, by the looks of it, Thug, they got a very, very good position inside the circle, and Zarar, they are having a fight with NFP, but Zigzag got knocked out and got killed.
Oh
My
yes,
man.
this did not work out towards Zarar's push because NFP had the information and NFP knew exactly where to put their crosshairs towards. With that, of course, this is a bit too close for Ash as well as the other player from the likes of Zarar because Ali, well, dude, I mean, this is not looking too good. Professor is already at his half HP and Zarar's push certainly could not be any better. I mean, they have to fall back. They certainly ought to fall back.
Yeah, otherwise they're going to be in a little bit of big trouble right now. Professor cooking a grenade, lob the grenade for the side of NFP. Skyesh got knocked out and Professor gonna confirm that kill, but unfortunately he got knocked out. Meanwhile, Zarar got eliminated by NFP and Sky. Cutter got, the title of, he got 3 kills for himself as well as for his team, and Zarar got eliminated at the 15th position with 3 kills.
Well, GG's indeed. They tried their level best. With that, we move on down towards Arcadians right here, and Arcadians are trying to take a fight up against ESN, and ESN is busy, far away, taking down players who are far, far away from the circle itself, and well, utilizing it in their favor because, of course, the circle is damaging as well as ESN players.
Yeah, as well as ESN player. Meanwhile, what a nade from the Fuzzan, and Gambler's side, Gambler got a knock and thrown one more grenade towards the side of the player of ESN, and ARK just marching towards the player of ESN, and could Gally able to eliminate that team, but nice retaliation fire coming from the side of Tala.
Absolutely, right here we can see that ESN Khan is the one that we were looking at who was on the outside and now is, well, finally able to bring down the team, and dominating play from Asan has brought 4 kills to the team, and Arc, the push, not working in their favor. Arcadians had a decent run, but it was not in their favor. Eventually, you move on the conversation down towards Hellrangers, and Hellrangers right here have Star player in their crosshairs. Star has only 1 man alive over there, whereas the other team members probably not around from the looks of it. And with that, we have 3 people from Star still alive, so that's a good thing. He just needs to get away from those trenches and maybe even bring down the player of Immobilist.
Yeah, but that's not looking good because he got stuck in the sewers. Meanwhile, NFP Sky Esports got eliminated on 12% with 6 kills, which is a decent amount of kills. Meanwhile, H2 Jigsaw coming to action, knocked out 1 player, confirming kills for himself. And, right now, if we talk about survival status, Magnus Esports, they got 5 kills and the 4 men alive for them. And Royal Paraboy is taking cover of the barn and still hiding behind that barn. And I think so, maybe the first thing is some, pop some smoke so that you can make an extra cover for yourself.
Absolutely, because again, Star has that information. Fury Ops right here, setting himself up and getting himself acclimated to the new trenches home that they've found for themselves. All 3 members are in those trenches from Star, so that could very well be working in their favor as they are away from all of the amazing, crazy battles that are going on this farm area right here. And of course, Bale is the only thing that you can use for your covers. But for how long are you going to be able to do that? Of course, as you so said, Phoenix, they are going to have to bring in a bit more of smoke approach, because otherwise you are going to be picked off left, right, and center. And that's exactly what ends up happening when you are in an open area and in a fight.
The same thing happened with the player from Freestyle Respect. He was trying to, he knocked down 1 player, but he was in an open area, so he got spotted down and knocked out instantly, and this is not looking good for Freestyle because 2 players got knocked out. They have to revive their players. After that they can take some fight. But meanwhile, on the 9th position, Destroyer Esports taken exit with only 1 kill, and MG is weakened. He got 3 kills for himself.
Wow, this is looking phenomenal from the side of course MG, because they have 11 kills in total from the lobby, and with that, of course, the Royals getting eliminated, and PES were in the open towards the north, but there is a team to contest them as well. Will they be able to, or rather will they be allowed to make this approach into the circle? Only time will tell. With that, of course, MSG right here is the one that will be in front, and they seem to be taking a fight against Hellrangers. Hellrangers, all 4 players looking pretty good and pretty sorted, but there are a lot of utilities that are being thrown down towards the side of course, MSG, and the question is, MGS, what are you going to be able to do? You've already got 2 players knocked, and Hellrangers, they have, well, no damage taken thus far.
Yeah, true, and they got in center of the zone. They got plenty of, a good position right now on the 7th position. Expensible taken exit with 3 kills, and Roni just living up to his name, trying to dish out some damage, but could not able to do that. They're very far away. And Adnan, he has 1 AK with a level 3 kit and with 1 level 1 vest, which is not a good combination, Lord.
Absolutely, and right here, PES, as we were just talking about it, they are in the up or not towards the open side, and they are going to have to try and push on along. But with that, of course, we see HR, Erangel also taking a knock. He is trying to bring down Freestyle, and Freestyle is also retaliating for the same, but they are taking too many fights right now. Hellraisers, they have themselves in the crosshairs of so many teams. How exactly are they going to be able to walk away from the situation, walk away from the small little sewer area? It's going to be really difficult. With that, they've already lost 2 players, and they've only got 2 more remaining, Ninja and Roni.
But the bad thing is, they're taking some fights but could not able to convert that knocks or, convert that knocks into some kills because they already got 1 kill. I'm still wondering that how do they have any different plan to get out from this situation?
Exactly, and with that you move on towards PES right here, which again has, the rotation has certainly worked in their favor, but right now they're taking a fight against the likes of Magnus, and Magnus have 2 people knocked down. They have a 4-man army right now, and that could very well be detrimental for the likes of PES because they only have 2 men surviving. Trying to push on along in the open is not going to be able to work in your favor, and with that, this is incredible play coming in from the likes of Magnus, where they had 11 kills. Now that will move on down towards almost 13-14 kills.
Yeah, meanwhile, PUBG Esports taking exit on 6th position, and Magnus Adil is not stopping, still trying to dish out some damage, and he could able to do that, but could not able to get a knock. And he just, hiding behind that drop, and he's very close to the players of Freestyle. 1 grenade, and he can eliminate a whole team.
Well, he certainly can, but again, when you talk about last man surviving for the team, the only thing that you ought to be doing is become the leash from any other team, right? Just try and be on the back end of that team. Do not give away your position. Do not give away any of the sound cues. And right now, of course, the best part for him that's working out is this perfect airdrop because it has the perfect cover for him. There's no idea from FS, and so all he's going to do is wait it out.
What a grenade coming from the side of Skips, and he just got a knock. And Freestyle, they're not looking in a good position because they're already outside of the zone. They have to move inside the zone. Meanwhile, they have to give revive to Zoltar. And 1 more player, Tyrant, got knocked out, and only 1 player. 1 player just the last hope for team Freestyle.
Wow, this is just phenomenal. Magnus certainly taking down this team. This is just cray. Magnus moving to 14 kills as of now. They do know that there is Star as well as Hellraisers on towards those suicide, but are they going to be able to move it along in their favor? Because now they're going to have to give away this red support that they had and walk into the open, where indeed all the other teams are probably going to be ready. If not all the other teams, well, Star is certainly going to be ready.
Yeah, Star is certainly being ready. Meanwhile, on the 5th position, Freestyle got eliminated, and Hellraiser still surviving. They are, they got good position, the circle, and slowly and steadily from the players from Star, they are just moving inside the circle, just making cover of that, using the utilities, the smoke into their favor. But Zyro, his position got revealed, and he is running into the open, just prone down at the right time, surviving on 10% HP.
Wow, this is just phenomenal. Star certainly taking the first. Okay, this is going to be a bit tough for Star, actually. This is going to be a really, really tough situation for Star. If at all anything, MG, the Magnus approach is working in perfectly because they are trying to focus on keeping all 4 members of their team alive. You've got ESN, which is, of course, Esports Nation, Wahid, all by himself. Nobody knows where he's at. And Hellraisers, well, they are, of course, just stuck in those trenches. They know as soon as they start peeking, as soon as they start opening fire or start using utilities, they are going to be in a soup. Meanwhile,
Oreo is not stopping. The players of MGS, they are not stopping. Got 1 more, knock from the player of Stars, and 1 more grenade to confirm that kill. And the last player survived from Star. It's Fury for how much time he can survive because the zone is also closing in. He got only 10% HP, and right now he's healing up. And another grenade from Oreo, and only 3 teams are left.
Absolutely. The approach that Magnus has taken right now, this is certainly going to be their game. If at all anything, Ninja and Ronnie need to come online and just showcase a little bit more of utility usage because they are just sitting ducks over there. And with that, of course, mark my word, they have started using the utilities because now the conversation is going to be, well, the utilities are certainly on point, but for how long? Because again, it is a 4v2 situation right there where indeed ESN, only thing that they want to do is be able to survive for the longest time that they possibly can. And right now, from the looks of it, it certainly is going to be Ronnie taking another hit, Ninja taking another hit, and with those grenades rocking on into the center of that sewer, this is probably the end of Hellraiser.
Yeah, this is probably the end of Hellraiser. Meanwhile, Wahid coming into action, knocked out Adil and confirmed his kill instantly. And right now, Magnus just, get down only 3. They got only 3 men alive, and we can just, eliminated Esports Nation on the third position. Now it's fight between two teams, which is Magnus versus Hellraisers.
Absolutely. This is a 3v2 situation once again, and that small little ESN blunder has resulted in giving Hellraisers a bit more time. That has resulted in them getting their heel back on. And of course, right now the conversation is going to be how exactly are they're going to be walking towards this push, because as soon as they start popping their heads, they know they would have given the information away. With that, of course, ESN push that came in has resulted in Magnus losing the hand, because they know that there is a team down there. They know there are two players, but where exactly are they?
And right now they're just throwing some random smokes and random grenades as well. This is going to help him a lot, but I don't know how much. Meanwhile, he got the AUG with the level 3 fresh kit. He can do wonders with that, and right now taking some painkillers, and after some time he's going to get almost 100% HP.
Well, this is interesting turn of events where indeed, Magnus, they have the upper hand advantage. They could very well start utilizing that advantage in their favor, but we see the smoke wall is being brought in right here, and maybe with that, maybe Ninja and Ronnie are going to try and push on along, and they certainly do. They step up on top, and with that, Ninja falling back, it is no questions asked. Ronnie is already at the edge of the circle, and he is not going to be able to survive for long. Already gone down, 3v1 situation, 2v1 situation, knocked out, and it is over. It was supposed to be over 2 minutes ago had Magnus pushed, but with that, of course, Magnus taken a wonderful chicken dinner in the final game.
And how many kills Oreo got? Because when we are casting the game, Oreo he got almost 4 to 5 kills with the use of only grenades, and they got total 19 kills, Plotter.
Dude, with 3,216 damage, 19 kills, a chicken dinner, this is just phenomenal. You talk about one good game, that is how you're supposed to play that one good game. Magnus certainly are going to be pushing themselves along all the way probably to the top of the leaderboard, but GG played it.
Yeah, and that's how you end the day. And this is the final match. You got decent amount of kills. 19 kills is not a small amount with the chicken dinner. And, I'm not good at maths, so I'm not able to calculate that. But, the way they played is so good. The last player from Esports Nation, he was still Wahid was he did a wrong move. That's why he got eliminated on the third
move.
position.
Absolutely, it was an ill-timed move. But even that, let's also move on and talk about the most valuable player, the MVP from today's game, and that, of course, is going to be none other than the Magnus Esports lad Oreo.
Yeah, he got 6 kills he dished out 1,054 damage. His survival time is 27.12, and 0 assists given. Right now, he's just focusing on kills, and 218 heal done by himself. So the way he plays is so insane, and the way he's lobbing the grenades were so perfect that every single time whenever he threw a grenade, he got it off.
Absolutely. The entire team, the entire team of Magnus was just on point. The communication was on point. The way they stood together against all the odds were just perfect. As soon as there was one knock from a team member, they would first things first prioritize bringing that member alive. And with that, you talk about top players. You're looking at 6 kills coming in from Oreo. You're looking at 6 kills coming in from Adil. You're looking at 4 kills coming in from Skeps. This is just phenomenal sort of perfect play. 1,000 damage is only from Oreo right there.
Yeah, and 3 players, from Magnus and top players.
The team had 3,000 damage in total, and 1,000 is just from that one lad. Dude, this is just phenomenal play. Talk about a good game. That was just wonderful.
The beast mode turned on by Magnus. It was not that late, but the way they played is so impressive, and they just dominated the whole lot.
Oh yes, they certainly did. What a play this has been. You talk about the final circle, you talk about the way those rushes were made. Again, it was all in the open. The way PES also tried to push on along towards Magnus. Had they been a bit more secure with a few more bales around them, they probably could have had the upper hill advantage. Or not the upper hill, but they could have had an upper advantage, simply put. But eventually, though, there was nothing like that. It was an open push, and PES, because of that, faltered, even though they had utilities going up against Magnus. But eventually, it is Magnus's day through and through.
Yeah, through and through. And you know what? I just want to talk about the last fight. They're using the smoke till the last, because just making smokes into their favor, just making some extra covers so that they can use, just get that chicken.
Absolutely. Again, it was just perfectly played from the side of course, Hellraisers as well, because they were just trying to survive for as long as they could. But with that, let's move on to, of course, the match ranking itself and find out when it comes to the status of Magnus. We are looking at 34 total points from this team.
And Esports Nation is not that far away. They got 10 placement points with 9 kills, and they got total 19 points. And if we talk about Hellraisers, they finished on the 3rd position, but they got only 2 kills, and they got only a total 14 points. And Freestyle, a decent outing from their side. They are on the 5th position with total 9 points.
Absolutely, and right here, as we move on down towards the 9 to 16 slot, you're looking at Zerar with 3 kills and 3 points, and move on all the way down towards Team Arcadians and N2D. Again, it was just the rotations that kind of faltered along for the time for the team of N2D as well as Arcadians, because N2D was looking pretty comfortable with their aggressive stance, but were not able to capitalize on it though.
Yeah, same for H2E as well as Royals. They finished on the 9th and 12th place respectively. H2E, they got eliminated very early, in a very, very early stage. I think that maybe they're gonna finish on the top 5 and the top, 6th position, but could not able to. That same for Royals.
Right.
And in the previous match, they finished on the 3rd position with 4 kills, but in this match, they got the 9th position.
Wow. With that, let's move on to the Oppo moments and find where exactly were these players and what all were they doing throughout this lobby. We start off with, of course, NFP right here taking knocks from Zerar. Professor was the one. In fact, it was Zerar that was initially pushing on along and trying to get that compound, but it was not their time to push.
Yeah, there's not that time to push. And look at the position of Hellraisers. They're just, they just got inside the center of the zone. They're just holding that area for a long time, but you can only able to get only 2 kills. Meanwhile, they're taking a lot of fights, but could not able to convert that knocks into kills. But meanwhile, that one grenade from Oreo just finished the whole team of Star.
Well, indeed. I mean, Star, they were only a 3-man army, and one knock after the other. They were just not able to utilize that open position. And again, there was nothing supporting them for that position as well, because there was no cover in that. But again, you talk about the way that Hassan approach came in, or rather, HSN approach came in, that was just not required. I mean, Esports Nation, they could have maybe just kept a bit more quiet for a bit more longer time.
But the thing is, the zone is also closing in. He has to do something, otherwise his position also got
Don't
revealed.
take a knock. Rather, do not knock any other player. Just slowly crawl along and
but he
just
got
try and
one
survive.
kill.
That's true. That's true. He did get that 1 kill, and that certainly did hurt Magnus a little bit.
Yes.
But eventually, though, I mean, it is looking good for the team as well, because the way the entirety of it worked out, they did end up being 3rd, and they had 9 points in that total, I believe. So that, of course, when you talk about the overall standings, will certainly help the team, because the placement point, as you move on towards the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, is quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. And if we talk about the last, Wahid trying to clutch it out, but he already revealed his position, and because of that, all the whole team of Magnus just focused on himself. That's why he got eliminated on the 3rd position.
Absolutely, that is true. And with that, we have the updated total overall ranking in front of us, and this is looking good. Team Grounder with 69 total points in the 4 matches that they played, with 2 chicken dinners. Magnus with only 1 chicken dinner, but the amount of aggression that they've showcased, 37, 10 more kills than the team of Grounder, bringing them so very close to the team Grounder.
If we talk about Magnus Esports, they got 37 kills, highest in the all over leaderboard. We talk about Team Arcadians, H2E, 2x official, Team F4, they already got stepped down, but Royals stepping up on the 16th position with total 26 points.
Absolutely, and we've also seen some wonderful plays from PES throughout the 4 games that we just noticed. They are on the 3rd spot of the overall ranking for now. So PES also looking really phenomenal. They've been porting, they've just been able to teleport basically, from the back end to the front itself, right off the bat in first game itself. They showcased that wonderful domination, and with that, Portal Esports on 3rd, move on to the 3rd page of the leaderboard itself. You're looking at NFP. The aggression was on point many times, but the capitalization of the aggression has not been in their favor, because they are still looking at only 25 points.
Same for Freestyle as well as the RAR Esports. They're on the 20th and 21st position respectively, and all the teams got 25 points. We talk about from 16 to 21st position.
But again, I mean, this outing was perfect for Hellraisers, though, because they were on the final page of the leaderboard and have slowly stepped up and jumped up, rather, I would say, from that to 21 points and 24th position. So that is looking really dominating, not necessarily, but at least it showcases that they have a bit more work to do, and they'll be back online again.
Yeah, sometimes passive approach is going to help you a lot, and we can see that clearly, because H2E just, stepped up on the 2nd page of the leaderboard. But this is the 3rd page of the leaderboard, which is not that good. Expendables, stepping up on 28th position with 12 points. And Redstone, they're on 30th position with only only less than 10 points.
Sheesh. I mean, Redstone has not had a good outing throughout the 4 games. I mean, RS has just been not seen in the limelight as well because they were just being chucked out of even stepping into the 5th circle itself. So it was a bit difficult, a bit of a difficult day for them. But talking about the kill leaders themselves, talking about the players who were just dominating forces, let's have a look at them. And indeed, with that, we are once again, right off the bat, looking at Magnus Adil, 13 kills.
Or total 2,325 damage at this 1,000. PES Mom2, he also got 13 kills with total 2,100 damage. And Hassan is there from Esports Nation with 11 kills, and MGS Oreo with 10 kills. 2 players from same team, and look at the damage he done, 26-26. Oreo, he is insane at this moment.
That is true. I mean, the entire team of Magnus has just had a phenomenal run today. And for that, of course, they are going to be, well, very, very happy. There's no question about it. But tomorrow is going to be Group A versus Group D, where indeed, I mean, in Group D, we just did talk about it. You've got PES in there. You've, of course, got Freestyle in there. You've got Zarar in there. That is going to be a deadly combination. A deadly combination, because in Group A, you will have teams which are, of course, known and have had a wonderful run. You talk about Knockout. That was from Group A. Fyme was from Group A. Day 1 was Knockout and Fyme. Apart from that, it was the Grounders, but the Grounders are in Group B. So tomorrow also, I'm waiting and very, very excited that, Group A versus Group D. Now the final battle begins. It's supposed to be a 6-day affair. 2 days are done. We've been introduced to these teams, and now the next 4 days, it is going to be the kind of domination that one team is going to be able to bring against the other, from one group to the other. And that is how that'll move on along.
Yeah, that's how we move all along. And the main thing is, today, Portal Esports showed a consistent performance. Can he able to do that tomorrow? That's the biggest question, because as you just mentioned, from the Group A is looking very strong right now.
Absolutely. With that, we do have one more stat to bring up, and that is going to be team information coming in for the like of Magnus. And indeed, when you talk about Magnus, we just saw some wonderful plays from this team. You talk about Skeps. He was 6 kills with a damage of 1859, looking good. Weekend, you move on with 8 kills and GG's throughout the board, because again, we have already seen Oreo in the kind of gameplay that he's brought, the kind of kills that he's brought for the entirety clan of Magnus, eh?
Yep, as well as he's leading the charge of the kill department for his team, because collecting some kills is one of the most important parts, so that you can just climb up on the leaderboard. As you can see, they got 2nd person. They are comfortable on the 2nd person, and right now they're quite happy as well, because Portal Esports stepped down. The biggest rivalry just going on in the Group C versus Group D, and they got comfortable 2nd position.
Absolutely. I mean, that has just been a phenomenal run throughout, from match 1 towards the end of the day into match 4. Of course, we saw plays from PES, no question about it. We had wonderful plays from ESN. We had some incredible run from Magnus right now, and H2E as well. I mean, it's just a perfect start to the wonderful PMCO. With that, we reach the end of our stream for day number 2. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We're going to be back again tomorrow with some more games lined up for you guys.